illustrated on its license plate, and we'll go to Joyce to see if we can get the answer. Joyce, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning to see you. All right, Joyce, what state has a diamond on its license plate, please?
Is it Arkansas?
It is Arkansas. Hang on a second. We'll get your information. Why is it?
You can mine for diamonds there as a civilian. There's a place called Crater of Diamonds State Park, and you can actually go and people find them today. You know, and the only reason I know this is the largest diamond ever discovered in the United States is called the Uncle Sam diamond, and it was discovered in Arkansas.
Wow.
Every now and then I'll have a story that I'll come across, and sometimes I'll put it in a bizarre file, like, you know, a kid found a 2.5 carat diamond just walking around there.
Is it there?
And so you can take like buckets of just, you know, earth, gravel, whatever, home with you, and then you can go sort through it if you want to.
It's like panning for gold at Knott's Berry Farm.
And essentially you pay like whatever the entrance fee is, and you just have at it. And every now and then people find some decent sized diamonds, and they'll make some money off of them.
Nick, I have a geography/English question for you. Why is it called Arkansas and not Arkansas? Or why is it not Kansas City? And
I don't know. It's a great question. And why is it Kansas and Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. By the way, Joyce is going to get tickets to see Tom Papa, who's going to be performing Friday, February 16th at the Keswick Theater. Tickets are on sale now. Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz are headed to the altar. Multiple sources, yes, tell People Magazine exclusively that the couple who were first linked in 2021 are recently engaged.
I like this couple. Isn't he like besties with Jason Momoa? Her step-dad?
Over the weekend, the stars were photographed leaving a Halloween party, and Kravitz, who was dressed as Rosemary Woodhouse from Rosemary's Baby, seemingly showed off her new engagement ring in the pictures. The Batman actress previously opened up about her relationship with Tatum in a cover interview for GQ, the 2022 Men of the Year issue, and praised him for being just a wonderful human.
She's terrific as Catwoman in the Batman, and she had a really good SNL appearance. I like her a lot. Yeah, she's very versatile.
So the two stars met during the casting process of Kravitz's upcoming directorial debut, Pussy Island.
Yeah.
And Tatum Kravitz said, went on to be her guardian on the set. She said, whether it was making me tea or pouring me a drink or going to whip someone into shape or whatever, he really was my protector, and it was really wonderful and sweet.
When is that movie coming out? Because apparently already green-lighted Vagina Valley.
I don't know, but we'll have to wait for Pussy Island first.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Somebody's getting married.
Yep, so they are engaged. They'll be a power couple.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, so on Monday, Robert De Niro took the stand in a civil trial to resolve a suit filed against the actor and his company, Canal Productions.
Liar whore,
Wow.
you know it.
By
he was upset.
his former assistant, Graham Chase Robinson, the liar whore.
What the hell are you doing?
De Niro spent about 90 minutes on the witness stand and called Robinson's allegations all nonsense, claimed that he would call... The actor claimed that he would call Robinson at civilized hours only and
Please stop calling me.
and allowed her to work remotely. It's not like I'm telling her to go out and scrape floors or mop floors, he said. He stated her tasks included scheduling, arranging travel, and gift purchases for loved ones.
As I look at this case from the outside, so he's a dick as a boss, but I'm not seeing a lot. What is the actual...
All right, well, I'll get into this. So the legal fight began in 2019 after Canal Productions filed a $6 million lawsuit against Robinson, against her, okay, who was hired as the actor's assistant in 2008 and later promoted to vice president of production and finance at Canal. Robinson registered from the company in April 2019 amid growing concerns. She resigned from the company.
Okay.
Amid growing concerns of company sabotage.
Oh.
Her salary at the time, according to the suit, was $300,000. The suit alleges that this is the suit against her, okay?
Right, the countersuit.
No, this is the initial suit.
Oh.
Yeah, in 2019 it began. Canal Productions filed a $6 million suit against her.
Okay.
All right, so according to the suit alleges that she binge-watched Netflix while on the job and that she used company funds for personal expenditures. Robinson responded with a suit of her own against Robert De Niro, alleging violations of her New York City human rights laws. And her suit claims that De Niro made sexist comments and conduct toward her and assigned her stereotypically female job duties that were inconsistent with her job title. It also claims that she was paid less than a male employee due to gender-based stereotypes, and that De Niro and Canal allowed De Niro's girlfriend, Tiffany Chen, to target her with false accusations about a romantic interest in De Niro, which led to her being stripped of her job duties in retaliation. Chen is one of a dozen or so witnesses that may be called by the plaintiff, and Robinson has sued the actor for $12 million in damages for severe emotional distress and reputational harm. Now, there was a little bit more I saw this morning that, according to People magazine, De Niro raised his voice on multiple occasions while providing his testimony.
Did he, in fact, scream liar, whore?
He did not scream liar, whore, but apparently he admitted, he goes, yeah, fine, I berated her. And he also revealed that he may have called Robinson petulant, snippy, and an effing spoiled brat. However, the Goodfellas actor made a distinction when it came to accusations that he yelled at Robinson. He said, I've raised my voice. I don't yell. You want to dispute that? That's one thing I don't do. And also, this is interesting. She accused him of asking her to scratch his back and also, listen to this, urinating while he was on the phone with her. I've peed a bunch of times while I've been on the phone with you guys before.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm peeing right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
why not? You got to be free. Again, this seems like a really gray area. That
it does.
He's a crappy boss, and I believe that. I believe that he's bad with people who work for him. Remember that footage of him dealing with the limo driver? He's freaking out with the limo driver.
Yeah.
He came out of the courtroom. But is that millions of dollars worthy?
Right.
no.
Right. But they had filed the lawsuit against her initially after she left, and they said she essentially wasn't doing her job.
Preston, what
and
are the
also
odds?
using the company credit card for personal things.
Do we have any standing to file our own lawsuit against the both of them just to get the press?
Maybe.
Yeah.
We could. Is there a precedent there?
Your
Maybe
story's
somewhere?
causing us to rest.
We'll have to look. All right, so I have some audio to go along with this. First I'm going to tell you about the costumes that people wore, that the famous people wore.
Because they're better than us in every way.
Then I'll have some audio to play. It does involve Kim Kardashian, but first
good.
I want to talk about her. She shared some pictures of herself with her daughter Northwest celebrating. They went as characters from the movie Clueless. They dressed in matching plaid skirts and blazers.
Look, a quick thing here. A lot of times you'll see this. There's no way they know the movie Clueless.
The kids?
Yeah.
Right.
So somebody is. Do they?
I don't know. I mean, Caroline knows some movies that I'm surprised to find out. Now, I don't know how old Northwest is, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I was probably 4 years old, and I have a picture of it. I was the unknown comic. I didn't watch the Gong Show at 4 years. I knew who I just went as whatever my parents put me in.
All right, maybe that's it.
At a certain point, though, you do. She is old enough to make her own decisions.
Yeah, she's looking at a picture of her. She's almost as tall as Kim.
Yeah, she watched the movie with her.
Yeah.
I don't think that's odd.
Then we have Kerry Washington. She debuted her costume as track star Sha'Carri Richardson, who made history last year as the fastest woman in the world. Nicey Nash Betts went, and Jessica Betts transformed into Jessica Rabbit and the detective from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Heidi Klum, who does these outrageous, over-the-top, she's known as a queen of Halloween. She does these crazy costumes. This is a really weird one. She was a giant peacock, but it was a group of like 6 or 7 people that were involved in it.
Really cool with the costume is she's standing or kneeling on someone whose legs come out as the peacock's legs. And then when the plume is opened up, it's these people extending their arms. It's pretty wild.
There's 10 of them that made this costume. It's crazy.
The funny thing is her daughter, who's also a model, wore hardly anything and kind of stole the thunder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to see what the daughter was wearing.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, the daughter's a professional model as well.
And Bradley Cooper and his ex, Arena Sheikh, because they have a daughter together.
Yes.
They went out dressed, the two adults were dressed as Rocket Raccoon, but they had like full body and face like you couldn't tell who they were. They went out incognito.
You have to imagine he was doing the voice.
I would hope so.
Yeah, because wouldn't that be... Man, wow, that's really good.
And the daughter went as Taylor Swift. It was a cute outfit that she was wearing, but you wouldn't know that it was them. I guess some people, maybe paparazzi, followed them and got pictures, and so they went out as Rocket Raccoon, which I thought was kind of fun. All right, so Kim Kardashian, her latest Skims advertisement which includes an attempt at making her brand more eco-friendly, is gaining some attention online. The video, which she shared on her Instagram account, starts out with the reality TV star and fashion mogul discussing our overheating planet. So I'm just going to play this audio.
Yeah.
Because it speaks for itself.
Is it vocal fry all the way
No.
through?
No. It's
All right.
just what the product is. Okay.
The Earth's temperature is getting hotter and hotter. The sea levels are rising. The ice sheets are shrinking. And I'm not a scientist, but I do believe everyone can use their skill set to do their part. That's why I'm introducing a brand new bra with a built-in nipple. So no matter how hot it is, you'll always look cold. Some days are hard, but these nipples are harder. And unlike the icebergs, these aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
The Skims Ultimate Nipple Bra.
So it's a nipple bra.
All right, so for years we've been trying to cover them up. Now
right?
they're putting them in bras so that if you don't have hard nipples, they can show as they do.
Coming soon, panties with a moose knuckle.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Now, I have to admit, she looks fantastic in this commercial.
She does.
In her
I
nipple
do
bra.
have to admit that. And the nipple bra is pretty sexy.
Wow.
But Kathy, I've never heard of anything like this
I've
before.
never heard. Well, okay, so anybody who would get something like that would either be wearing like a sheer bra or doesn't have to wear a bra. So somebody that does have to wear a bra and wants that sexy, you can kind of see my nipple. Now there's an option for
There
you.
is.
It's pretty wild. So do you think we will be seeing camel toe?
Camel toe,
No, but
camel toe underwear?
Yeah.
I do think we're going to start to see like 4 nipples
Yeah,
on
yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
So people who are actually rocking some hard diamonds there.
So the question is how? Would the bra in and of itself have to suppress your normal nipples to avoid your four nipple look?
Yeah.
It's not hard to do that.
Right.
Anything with a slight lining is
Yeah.
going to do that.
Okay.
So this just has like a little bump where the nipples would be in
Like
the
a
bra.
fembot, Preston.
Totally.
This is great.
Yeah. So
Now I'm going to go.
Thank you.
are those real?
Are those real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those nips real?
You're just gonna have to guess.
I have prominent nipples. Mine are always hard. I like no matter what I wear, if it's thin, you're gonna see.
Can you do a commercial?
I could. Look at these nips. So hard all the time.
Oh my! Are they okay? Are they available?
Podcaster Preston Elliott, and my nips are so hard.
I can't help it. Don't hate me because my nipples are hard.
My nipples are very sensitive.
She also noted that 10% of the sales from this bra will be donated to
Nipples across America?
No, 1% for the planet, an organization that helps businesses take responsibility for their environmental impact by committing to donating at least 1% of annual sales directly to environmental organizations.
All charities that deal with nipples.
Yep. So I have some sad news after the nipple story. General Hospital star Tyler Christopher passed away. He was 50 years old. The official General Hospital Instagram account uploaded a statement from producer Frank Valentini, who honored the late soap opera star and said, "I'm heartbroken over the news of Tyler Christopher's passing. He was kind, an incredible actor, and a dear friend who is beloved by our GH family and fans of Nicholas Cassadine."
He was married to Eva Longoria, I
Was
believe.
he?
Yeah, for a while.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how he passed, but
They say it was a heart attack, Preston. He'd had some drinking issues.
well, his co-star Maurice Bernard took to Instagram and said Tyler was a sweet soul and wonderful friend to all those who knew him. Tyler was an advocate for better mental health and substance abuse treatment, who openly spoke about his struggles with bipolar depression and alcohol. So when I hear things like that, I wonder if it was self-inflicted or something like that. But I didn't see, there wasn't in the story I read, there wasn't any details.
But as Casey has pointed out, if you run your body down and that the damage to the heart from alcoholism or for anything that you're overindulging in, can come back to haunt you later on.
Yeah, most
Sad.
definitely. Yep. So let me see what else I have here for you. Oh yeah, back to the Jenner sphere for a moment. The whole Kardashian clan and sphere and all that. Because
to full stop.
yeah. So I have a story about Travis Barker and Kourtney
the dilithium crystals.
Kourtney Kardashian's baby boy. He slipped and divulged the name of the baby. He was on a podcast. He was talking to Toby Morse, and he said, as well as he divulged the name of the baby, as well as when they're expecting to welcome him to the world. He said, "There's a benefit for Hawaii that we're going to, but it's the week that Rocky is due."
Rocky!
Yes. For real.
That's right.
The Blink 182 drummer said Barker also revealed that Rocky is due on Halloween.
Was I born yet or what?
So I guess that was yesterday.
It's like I've been waiting like a billion years.
Yeah, so Morse replied, "Come on, dude, you couldn't have planned that any better." And he said, "I know, it's either Halloween or like the first week of November."
If it's really Rocky, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So my friend, a longtime friend growing up, his first name was Rocky, and he despised it. So he went by his second name, Nicholas.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because of the movies?
I think so. I think it was part of it. He really was not a Rocky type. He was more like a Woody Allen-ish type.
Do we have any of the baby crying, Rocky?
Oh.
Is what I'm saying. Never mind. Okay.
Rocky, baby crying. I don't know what
No, Rocky crying. We had that over the top crying clip of him when Mickey died. In fact, that's where. No, that's not where Duya came from. Duya came from the whole reindeer rantler thing. Don't worry about it, Case. It's all good.
I think I want to hear it now.
Well,
Is it one of the missing
everything
clips?
was disappearing.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm scared.
Meg Ryan doesn't think that she's the best at being a celebrity. The actress told
She's wrong.
Entertainment Tonight in an interview published yesterday. She said, "I have to say, I don't think I was a very good famous person. I just don't think I'm a good celebrity."
Is this all because this movie's coming out? Because a lot of Meg Ryan stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's making the rounds right now. Yeah. She added, "I just always felt a little bit like life was over, like outside this little bubble." She said, outside some sort of membrane. And I remember cars closing, like expensive cars. And then you don't hear the outside anymore. You're roped off in that part of thing. And I just knew that it's just not
What the hell are you talking about?
good for an artist or creative person to have limited life in a way to draw from.
God,
I know.
a lot of verbal diarrhea.
A little bit of rambling there.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like Rambo.
yeah. So, Deadline reports that Winona Judd is going to be joining The Voice for its 24th season. NBC announced yesterday that the No One Else on Earth singer will join judges Niall Horan. I don't really know.
Oh, from the boy band. Was he One Direction?
Okay. John Legend and Reba McEntire and Gwen Stefani as a mega mentor.
She's a mega mentor.
Yes.
What does that mean? Superpowers?
She's the second country music star to join the show since Blake Shelton left last season.
What about Reba McEntire?
Yeah, what about Reba McEntire?
Exactly. Chop liver?
The country music star.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Liar whore.
So, she's going to be a part of it, but as a mega mentor, and I don't know how that show works.
Is there a super ultra mega mentor?
If there's a regular mentor and mega mentors, I don't really know what.
And what about the Dementos?
The mentors. All right. So we're going to go to the clips now. So let's get to that. Sorry, Case. Inspector's Son is an animated mystery film about a spider detective who boards a plane to go on vacation when a murder on his flight draws him into a plot that threatens both the human and bug worlds. Here, director Julio Soto Gurpidi talks about the biggest challenge when making this movie.
You know, I found fascinating the world of insects. You know, since I was a child, I was always in love with insects. And, you know, I was never afraid of spiders or anything like that, like a lot of people do. So one of the challenges of the movie was to actually make the spiders, you know, cute and nice so that everybody would love them and everything. So that was the biggest challenge of the movie, you know.
What the is this?
Inspector Son is out in theaters now. Here's our next clip. The new comedy Sick Girl is about a woman who feels her closest friends slipping away, so she lets loose with a little white lie that snowballs into a colossal, life-altering event. And here, director and writer Jennifer Cram, who was just in our studio, talks about the inspiration of writing this movie.
So I wrote this about 10 years ago. I was going through like a similar thing in my life.
God, does she have a Philly accent? Where's she from?
Yeah, North Philly, man.
The girls in the story are with my friends. We'd all grown up together and we were, you know, in our 30s, we were starting to get married and have kids. It was the first time that we had really ever been faced with these challenges. I didn't really know what was going to happen with our friendship. friendship.
Yeah!
Sick Girl is now available to rent on Prime.
Funny, last night trick-or-treating, Preston, two parents or two adults that came up were friends with Jennifer. Like,
no kidding.
Like, I heard her on your show.
Oh, that's great.
It was very cool.
Excellent. So hopefully she had a great Halloween as well.
Are we going to get the Lyle answer before the break?
Lyle Lovett. We were trying to, if you're just tuning in, Casey was trying to pull up some music from Lyle Lovett, and he typed it into our system. We don't have any Lyle Lovett, but he said a band did come up, and he would give us $20 if we could name what band it was.
All right, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
The Lyle Wagners?
It is not the Lyle Wagners. And I think maybe I threw you guys off because it's just the word Lyle in the middle of this other word. It's not a name, Lyle. And the name of the band is?
Flyleaf. FLYLEAF.
I would never have guessed that.
I never would have got that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of their somewhat hit?
I'm looking at, I know the band Flyleaf, but like,
Is it You Raise Me Up?
No, I'm
There's
looking
a
at
song called I'm So Sick. Yeah, I don't know, Case.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Sorry to interrupt.
I think I have a temperature.
All right. Well, anyway, all questions answered.
Yes.
At the end of this particular break.
All family business will be reconciled.
We are going to give away something right now. We have a pair of tickets for the #1 rated Birds Home Tailgate this Sunday at Live Casino before the Birds take on Dallas. And we can set you up with top shelf, all-you-can-eat food and drink. E-Rock as the DJ. Hollis Thomas will be there as the Birds ambassador. And Philly Sports Trips are your host.
Nice.
So how about we take caller number 23 at 215-263-WMMR. You have to be at least 21 years of age in order to win. And don't forget, you can visit phillysportstrips.com to grab your spot. But let's set you up with one for free right now. We're going to take a break. Don't forget, we have an announcement coming up around 8 a.m. that we're very excited about. We'll be back in a moment. I love this. I'm sitting on our next guest Twitter account, and he's got a tweet from Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
It says, excited to see the Snyder Cut, but ahead of its debut, and with the aid of a good amount of aviation gin, tonight at 6 p.m., I'll do something I've never done. Actually watch The Green Lantern. Happy St. Patrick's Day. That was sent to Zack Snyder. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very fortunate to have this gentleman on. He was gracious enough to give us this wonderful interview at the Camp Out for Hunger. It was fantastic.
So cool.
And we're stoked on the day that this big event that we've long awaited, that he is joining us this morning. It's very, very cool.
I mean, the stuff that so many people thought would never happen, and here it is.
Please welcome Zack Snyder to the show this morning. Zack.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Doing really great this morning.
It is an exciting day for a lot of people, including, most of all, you. And the first question I want to get into, Zack, is just to remind everybody, how did this come to be? Where did this idea start that this movie needed to go back and be redone and added all this extra footage? I think it was fan-based, was it not?
100% fan-based. I don't know. It's a long saga of what happened during the film. People might not know that the original Justice League that was released in theaters, that I've never seen the movie. I left the project due to a family tragedy that we had, and so I never completed the film. They brought in another guy to finish it, and they made a couple of changes in my absence, and so I guess there was a hashtag that circulated called "Release the Snyder Cut." And that hashtag started on November 17th, 2017, which is the day the movie was originally released.
Wow.
There was a guy who walked out of the theater and just went like, nope, and tweeted that. And since, it's been tweeted millions of times, the studio finally was like, okay, well, I guess we have to do this. It's
miraculous.
Yeah.
It is a miraculous thing when you stop and think about it. So the actual release itself, Zach, the actual movie, that it's in existence the way you originally envisioned it, but now the story of it has become Hollywood legend as well, how this actually was executed. So something that I'm sure would have to frustrate any artist and any guy, and I consider you a visionary. Preston and I, we all love your work. I mean, we're massive fans. And to think, okay, I guess I have to cast that one into the dustbin of, that's it. And then to be able to go back, and then you're getting things like IGN saying Zack Snyder's Justice League is a vindication for the director and the fans that believed in his vision. That's got to be awesome on this day to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just the fans have been so amazing. Our big cause is suicide prevention and mental health awareness. And, the fans have raised now $600,000 just, in the little fan community. Because every time they did an activation, like if they bought a billboard, half the money would go to AFSP and the other half of the money would be like a billboard, or like whatever they do, half of the money goes to, AFSP and, for suicide prevention and mental health awareness. And it's just an incredible, I've said 100 times, like, well, if there was no movie, what the fans have done is incredible, especially during this pandemic where there's a lot of people suffering, through some hard times, on top of the, this virus, there's also just the impact on all of us as people. And I think that they've really been just amazing and tip of the spear in that way. And I'm just proud of the community.
Well, you participated in our Camp Out for Hunger, and just to put into perspective what happened, that ended up, when we thought we were fighting, the Battle of Sisyphus there, pushing the boulder up the hill, it ended up being by leaps and bounds, our most productive camp out ever, and again, thanks in part to you and the other people who did it. So the generosity is not gone, and for anyone who's going to enjoy and has been excited for this event, that we'll put the link up. I'm sure Nick probably already has, to direct money for people who want to make donations to this charity, which has touched your life and is sadly touching so many lives right now, and then turn a negative into a positive. But I have to ask you, so there is so much that initially I was unaware, after having seen the movie in the theater and having loved the way you had progressed this story. With Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. To me, it seemed very Wagnerian and very operatic, and I love it. I love that whole thing. And while Justice League definitely has its moments, the tone was different. And so now that I realize there were huge chunks that were excised, Preston and I loved the character of Cyborg, and you could just feel he had been shorted so much screen time. That has been corrected, correct?
Cyborg is really it's his movie in a lot of ways. I think when you see it, you're going to be very much, you're basically seeing Cyborg's story in a lot of ways. It's his origin, and that was always when Chris Terrio and I were working on the story. Our intent was always to have Cyborg. It was his time. We thought this movie was going to be all about Cyborg, and frankly, Justice League really takes that character, all the way.
I love it.
I can't wait for you to see it. But I was suggesting that you guys leave the studio right now.
Oh, Zach was actually giving us a pass.
All right, great.
And suggested, and I suggested we ran the show from the time of Live Aid, and it would probably, it wouldn't work out. But so we're going to tell our bosses you've given us the pass right now, actually on social media, and there are people responding who are just loving it. And you've always dealt with people who just summarily just don't buy into what you're doing. I've from the get-go, as have legions, bought into it. And you like long movies. We talked about this last time at the Camp Out for Hunger. And if you're telling a story, it's like I was looking at the runtime initially when the first iteration of Justice League was released. Like, how are you? What is this? What was this filmed in a photo booth? I mean, how are you getting these huge stories compacted?
The movie, I think the runtime of the movie it's 2 hours with credits. So it's, I think, an hour and, 40, or 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Total. I mean, I think that's not even half of the movie that I've just finished. So if you're ready for a deep dive into into some Justice League characters, if you're ready to really go all the way, this is what it's all about.
Zach, mentioning a long film, and for those who maybe have a hard time consuming something that's 4 hours long, I did read this morning that it is kind of broken up into 30-minute chapters. Is that the case?
Yeah, when I originally finished this cut of the movie, I finished in January of 2017. So I've been working on it even 2016. So and I had this idea then that I should divide the movie into chapters. And so it's really easy to, I think as a stream, when you're streaming it, and this is a great HBO Max thing that's happening, in that when you sit on your sofa, if you sort of think about it psychologically, like you're about to binge basically 7 half-hour episodes of a giant, some are 40 minutes and whatever, but I think you really, in that sense, it's really easy to watch, and you can always pause it at the chapters and go get your chips or go to the bathroom, or you can come back the next day. But it's really, I think in that way, it's the right sort of platform for it. We did finish an IMAX version of the movie as well, which hopefully when the theaters kind of open up more, we can put it up in IMAX for you guys, because we want to do that for charity, in the fall.
Oh, we'll be there. We'll promote it. Yeah, we'll absolutely do that. And just to let people know, and it's my understanding that they might be thrown off as you watch it, as everyone will watch it today, and then donate to Zach's charity as well. That the aspect ratio that you'll see at home is a little bit different, correct?
Yeah, it's like the opposite of letterbox. So everyone took a while to get used to letterbox format, which is when you have black bars on the top and bottom, the kind of widescreen look. This is the opposite. It's in Academy, or it's in full app. So it is shot in the sort of IMAX format, which is like a big square. So you'll have some bars on the sides of the screen. So don't worry about that. That's part of it.
I was seeing side-by-side comparisons, and I love from you see more stuff going on. You need to see the bat signal.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have my Batman here with me. But I mean, the fact that all of that is going on, and just the color changes that you've done. Steppenwolf got a badass makeover. And I mean, with what you did, and HBO Max gave you some money, but what you've been able to do, and I've just seen stills, so I'm very excited. But everything looks fantastic.
Cheers. Yeah, you're going to get to see Darkseid. I don't know if you know anything about DC.
I do.
Darkseid he's the King Daddy bad guy of the DC universe, and he's not messing around. He doesnn't play nice. He's just here
to mess everything up. Yeah, and
mess every single thing up.
All right.
Let's hope the Justice League gets it together.
Don't give it away.
So with that,
I'm saying I hope.
Okay. Are there other actors who were initially on the cutting room floor that are now getting their treatment in this film?
Listen, I don't know 100% because, as I said, I haven't seen the theatrical cut. I might have to do that analysis. But I do know that Ryan Choi, the character of Ryan Choi, who would eventually become the Atom, his character was cut. And Kiersey Clemons, who plays Iris, she was cut. So anyway,
she's in a sequence.
Mom.
She's in a sequence with the Flashes. Gets a lot more.
Sayin Institute.
Oh my God!
In a bit. Sometimes it's weekly, but it's been a little while.
It gets difficult sometimes to get back there because, first off, it's such a huge facility. Getting in and out is a pain in the ass.
Yes, but it's a wonderful place, and
the home of the band names that contain the name Lyle Research Center.
We have everything at the Just Sayin Institute.
It's astonishing.
There's some good stuff to share with you guys, and these are studies and scientific and medical and theoretical and all kinds of information that's compiled at the Just Sayin Institute, the JSI, as we call it.
Information you can use on a daily basis.
If you have a blocked or runny nose, this is one you could use on a daily basis. If you've been blowing your nose with full force from both nostrils simultaneously, you've been doing it wrong, according to a doctor.
Wait, I don't even know how to do it through both. You have to hold one side and then the other, right?
Yes.
That's what I do.
And
I don't
blow
think it would be
gently.
Hold on.
Okay. You don't think it would be possible to do both at the same time?
No, okay, I guess it is. It is.
Yeah.
But I will normally hold one side and then the other.
So, Dr. Anna Nayan.
Can I have that when you're done, Kathy?
Yes, here.
You're going to borrow her
You try.
tissue. I know sometimes Kathy will be in the office and she'll blow a chunky one. I'll be like, can I have some of that?
When the hell has that ever happened?
I've said that before. It's been a while, but
just after you fart, usually.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back to you.
You roll it up in your sleeve now, Kathy.
So the doctor claimed too much force can cause nosebleeds and dizziness. Meanwhile, one leading expert claimed an incorrect method can, in extreme cases, lead to fractures in the nose. I wonder if anybody listening's ever had a fracture just from blowing their nose.
I remember a friend of mine, he blew his nose so hard he burst a blood vessel.
Yeah,
I believe it.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? I have not really had to blow my nose in years because of the
'Cause it's so-
Neomed.
Neomed.
It's so moisturized in there, and you don't really.
I don't get a buildup.
I had to teach Jace for like the longest time. Kid didn't know how to blow his nose, and I had to like teach him. I was like, okay, we're gonna breathe in. I was like, you're gonna hold your mouth closed. I was like, hold your breath. I go, and then we're just gonna blow out of the nose through one nostril.
Right.
But he like couldn't figure it out for the longest time.
Okay. I try not to ever blow my nose. I only blow it if it's absolutely necessary. I will admit I do kind of, if I've got some boogers in there.
You jam your finger up
there.
there.
Kind of grab them out and do that.
Yeah.
But in case he does too, because I'm witness to it.
Yeah.
But the reason I don't blow my nose is it doesn't. It messes with my ears. With your sinuses.
Well, yeah, you get like that air pressure.
My son Carter, when he blows his nose, he's one of those that makes that like that really loud.
My brother.
How do you do that?
Elephants would come running towards that house.
Yeah. It doesn't. It sounds like it hurts to me.
But then this would work for you, Preston. Like, I think if you did it lightly and one side, then the other side, that might help with the pressure in your ears.
It's almost like you are a trained scuba diver, right? I mean, when you're blowing air out, right? When your mask, is it the same?
Well, no. So you equalize.
Can you blow your nose underwater?
You equalize. You squeeze your nose and you blow out, and then that fixes the pressure. That you actually get some relief from. But I also have a deviated septum, and I think that's part of it too.
I do as well.
So one is partially one of the nostrils is partially blocked all the time. So I think I have an issue with that. So apparently, when you have an issue with your nose, we have an irritated nasal passage. It triggers an overproduction of mucus, and the nasal passages can narrow, makes it slightly harder to breathe through your nose. It says that they recommend you blow without excessive force from one nostril at a time to reduce pressure in the sinuses. Blowing too hard can put blood vessels in the nose under so much pressure that they burst, like your friends.
Yeah,
Steve.
there you go.
However, these types of nosebleeds usually stop on their own and don't require medical attention. On top of that, it can also affect the ears and sinuses, both of which are involved in pressure regulation.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah. A forceful blowing in the nose can trigger a rapid change in pressure behind the eardrum, which can cause pain in the ears and, in rare cases, a ruptured eardrum. Some people may also find that they get dizzy from blowing their nose with excessive force, and that's because blowing too hard can put pressure on the bones in the inner ear, and that area controls your balance. So you can actually get dizzy from blowing your nose. So they're saying to take it easy.
Right. Okay. So when you expel air from your nose in this way, they call it blowing your nose. However, when you fart, they won't say you're blowing your ass.
You're blowing your ass.
No, sometimes they say blow it out your ass.
Blow it out your ass.
That's true.
That's true.
I
Good
stand
point.
corrected.
All right, so keep that in mind as you're blowing your nose. Just a little tidbit of information from the Just Saying Institute. All right, let's see.
Information you can use.
Yep. All right, how about this? A recent study found that anger could actually help you with challenging goals.
So, for example, you're screaming liar, whore at someone. That can help you achieve a goal.
If you have a goal that particular day and there's a whore and they're lying.
Liar, whore, you know it.
Yeah,
I have some goals to achieve.
Is there a whore?
So, and has that whore lied? So 1,000 participants were shown images meant to elicit certain emotions and then were given challenging tasks. Those who were angry were more likely to achieve their goals than those who were neutral. However, anger is also associated with a willingness to cheat, too.
So I have found that anger can be a motivator for goal achieving, like a little bit of the I'll show them.
Okay.
I find it is good to have a perceived at least in my case, enemy or hill to battle up. It does help, I think, and that is a motivator.
So can you give an example of the type of goal we're talking about here?
Well, even like
project or
professionally, ratings and working on the show and so on and so forth. I don't know if the application would be like, I'm gonna get this IKEA piece of furniture built, goddammit, or achieve this goal. But there is a different kind of anger.
Because for me personally, anger, I think, makes it more difficult to achieve a goal if I'm frustrated with that goal. You know what I mean?
Here's my thing. I completely know what you mean. It will spur me on to get into that position where I can perhaps, with a more level head, if that makes any sense, like, all right, I'll just, I'm going to take that jump forward, and then maybe as I'm in the actual goal that I want to achieve or getting to it, I'm going to be a little bit more even keel. But I think that initial jump is usually can be helped by a little bit of, all right, let's do this.
Right. Okay. Researchers working with the American Psychological Association suggest a range of emotions, including anger, is preferable to constant happiness.
No,
really?
I don't agree.
I'd rather be happy.
I'd really like to be happy
It'd be
a lot.
Nice all the time. And
no,
just
it's great. You get twisted up. You have sorts of bowel issues.
Yeah, there's just an underlying sense of a hatred, and sure.
It might be like Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. I know that it's a movie, obviously, but the emotions in Inside Out all serve a purpose, right?
Yes.
So I think about Lewis Black as anger serving a purpose within that child, and there are different versions of anger in all of the characters in that movie, and they accomplish something when they
mean something.
they go to those emotions.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Preston.
I was just saying that movie is brilliant.
It really is.
In how it tackles the nuances of our emotions. It is just spot on.
Do you remember the episode of the original Star Trek? It was called The Enemy Within, where Kirk transports back up and it splits him into two people. One is the kinder Kirk, and the other one is the more animalistic. But the point is that Kirk's decision abilities lie in that character a little bit. So, in other words, you have to accept those elements of who you are that make you who you are, even maybe the less desirable ones.
And in Inside Out, towards the end, and as a little bit of a spoiler, but but how the emotions, those core memories, they become not only just joy, but they become a mix of joy and sadness together.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Thinking about
that whole, the whole final sequence is rip you up.
Just wonderful. So they're saying that anger can result in some of the best outcomes. So right before you start a project, have someone kick you in the nuts,
in the balls,
or other sensitive areas.
You know
maybe
who is
flick your nipple or something like that, and then you'll do a better job.
They used to call Hitler Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky because he was always so angry.
And then look at that.
And look at that. Look, it all fell to hell.
All right, let's see what else we have here at the Just Sayin Institute. This was kind of interesting. I've never heard of this before. Research from Brigham Young University found about something called organizational ghosts. Okay.
I'm scared.
Now, you don't have to be scared because this is not a spiritual type of ghost. Organizational ghosts of CEOs stay in a company long after that leader has left.
I see what you're saying.
Yes, so an organizational ghost is the idea that a company must do something that a former leader would have done. For example, executives at Disney may think of Walt Disney's legacy in their decision-making.
What you're saying is that there are formless apparitions that float around a building.
Just like that. And sometimes they knock things over.
Right, and they'll throw things around.
Right.
They will cause records to play in midair using a compass. No. So the spirit, if you will, of the corporate leader.
I would imagine it probably is more prominent in creators, people who have
like Steve Jobs.
Like Steve Jobs, exactly. Like what would he have
His
done?
His spirit permeates Apple.
Walmart employees may invoke the spirit of Sam Walton, and Coco Chanel still inspires fashion choices.
As much as we inspire fashion these days.
We do?
Yeah, absolutely. Coco Chanel.
So according
to
Preston and Steve. Kathy's jewelry line.
Jeff Bednar, one of the researchers, said, it fascinated me the impact and influence a leader could have on an organization even after they're gone. He said that new leaders need to be especially conscious of those that have gone before them as they are making decisions that affect others in organizations.
The last thing you want to be have happen to you is to be called into the ghost's office.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Right?
So I wonder if, like Mr. Snyder at the Flyers,
absolutely,
if his
guaranteed, that's it.
He still echoes in the halls.
Sure.
In fact, so much so that I think the organization got away from it for a few years, and they noticed it, and so they're like bringing him back, bringing like some of
the little museum that they have.
Yeah, like some of the direction that he brought to the organization when he was in charge.
And so George Tishman from Tishman Spire, hated soap dispensers that worked.
Yes.
So there are soap dispensers on this floor that they haven't fixed for 7, 8, 9 years.
Casey has been chomping at the bit to talk about the fact,
George Tishman,
that the
he hates working soap dispensers.
By the way, Tishman Spires who owns our building.
Yeah.
Okay, so Casey has just been dying to talk about the fact that the soap dispensers, some of the soap dispensers in the bathrooms don't work.
The one down the hall, what is that? The East Lobby hasn't worked for, I would say, no less than 5 years.
You know why?
It's probably been more.
Because it's sports talk and they don't wash their hands.
Yeah, but the one here stopped working months and months ago. And
But you have two in there? Or
Yeah, two.
there's two.
And just one is broke?
Just one is
Okay.
broken.
All right.
Yes. It's not, yeah.
By the way, you always forget which one it is, and you always wash your hands in the other sink.
Well, you know what, though? It does help that it's both the right one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really? I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
have to
so if
remember
it was
that.
the right on the one and the left on the other, like I'd be, doing that dance every single time. But
So yeah, we have
fix it!
we have these auto dispensers, and it senses your hand and it spits it out, and it looks
Sexual.
like a penis kind of. But anyhow, we want George Tishman, the spirit of George Tishman, to work on getting these soap dispensers fixed around here.
When you talk about your Nick, about when they stray from the vision, sometimes it ends up being a calamitous decision. Like Apple, that was they moved away from Steve Jobs and his methodology and his vision, and they paid for it.
They kind of have done it with the Phillies over the last few years. John Middleton has been sort of the face of the organization, and people follow his lead. And look, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but the team has been doing better, and I think that's part of the reason why.
So it's called organizational ghosts. And I'm sure there are people listening right now that hear their certain names echoed in the halls of wherever you may, call your work home. And
we just had this conversation, Preston, that in the founding fathers of WMMR, the slogan now is "Put the Dio back in radio."
Put the deal back in radio.
Dio.
Oh, the Dio back in radio.
Put the Lyle back in Flyleaf.
So anyhow, I thought that was an interesting.
It is interesting.
All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, this is even more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And I was happy to see this. Scientists found that people who submerged themselves in a hot tub for half an hour experienced a major cardiovascular and mental health boost, which rivaled running.
So this is interesting in light, especially of Matthew Perry's situation. We were talking about being in a hot tub and the physical reaction to it.
Yeah.
You're saying, on the whole, it's a very beneficial thing.
Yes. The team at Coventry University studied 20 healthy participants aged 26 to 60. They measured their heart rate, blood pressure, blood flow, anxiety, salivary cortisol, mood, and thermal perception, and did a follow-up questionnaire. 3 half-hour sessions were completed in a Lazy Spa Mallorca Hydrojet Pro at the same time over 3 separate days. Following immersion, blood flow to the legs increased by 345% on average, which is about the same as after a 30-minute jog.
Oh, yeah.
Heart rates also shot up by an average of 31 beats per minute, which works out roughly equivalent to a brisk walk.
That's pretty wild.
And blood pressure dropped significantly, which the author said also happens when running and is favorable to everyone, but especially those with existing heart disease, as it's associated with fewer heart attacks and strokes.
So one can make a case for getting the medicinal benefits benefits of a hot tub.
Yeah.
And why it's outlandish.
Even a swim spa.
A swim spa,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, George Spire also wished that I would never have a swim spa.
Well, his dream has come true.
Yes.
There were also considerable mental health advantages. Salivary cortisol levels, which indicate stress, dropped by 22%, as happens when exercising. Continuously high cortisol has been linked with several long-term health conditions, including weight gain, type 2 diabetes, muscle weakness, and severe fatigue.
And gurning.
Making ugly faces. Participants also
I can't stop. My cortisol levels are behind.
demonstrated a 10% reduction in anxiety levels, similar to a speedy stroll. And previous studies suggested that long-term anxiety increases the risk of irritable bowel syndrome, migraines, insomnia, weight gain, a whole bunch of stuff.
Do you think there are any benefits to remaining sedate and eating scones?
Oh, there has to be.
There has to be,
because
right?
that's enjoyable.
It seems so good.
So they hope that their work will help those who are less mobile or unable to exercise consider hydrotherapy.
So there are two things I wanted to get. I wanted to get the hot tub for a while when we were getting the pool installed, and I just won't go into the elaborate story behind that. But between the hot tub and the I guess they're UV rooms. They use the You've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
They're sort of like dry spas. They're not, and they're supposed to be amazing for that blood flow thing that where your body is. So we have a thing called the Beamer, which is not a BMW, but it's a pad.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Rosenpien has turned us on to it, and you lay on this thing, and it is gets sort of blood flow into the capillaries. Oh. I don't know if it's it's a placebo,
psychosomatic,
but I have noticed and there's like a pad you can concentrate if you have a little bit of an injury. I have noticed. However, it's working. I'm convincing myself. I believe it's working.
Because you don't feel anything.
You don't feel anything.
Yeah.
In fact, Kathy, there is a device that you can hold that proves to you that it's on.
Oh.
Because
you can't tell.
You really can't tell.
Well, speaking of the hot tub, my dad did physical therapy and he did pool therapy, and it was really effective for him because he didn't have to put any weight on his legs. He was having some knee issues. And then Preston, he did that anti-gravity machine that they have at Trinity, which is, Steve, I did a little bit of it as well.
Cool.
It's really cool. Like, it envelops you in this sort of bubble, and it supports your weight. So if you have leg issues or ankle issues or whatever, you can exercise, you can get movement going without putting any weight on your feet or your legs. It's really impressive.
Yeah. So who was working out with that? Made all the news because.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
they showed it. And it was like a space age contraption. It looks wild.
You know what else they have in? Did you ever hear like a swim spa? Did you ever hear of those things?
Yeah. Supposedly, if you're looking for the healthiest thing you can get for your family, a swim spa. That's it. And in fact, it's been suggested, I don't know if this is true, that in cases where someone is reticent to do that in the family, it means they have a secret loathing for their family.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know that. But
I
I'll
heard it
have
makes
to
your
look
penis
into
bigger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then maybe we should
just
look into that.
Just talking about it, it's working on me right now.
But the point I'm trying to make here is they actually have treadmills at the bottom of them. So
yes,
yeah. So if you are, suffering with like bad knees or ankles, or having that constant weight and pressure coming down on that, having a treadmill at the bottom of your swim spa,
it'd be excellent.
I was happy to see this information though about a hot tub, the warmth of the hot tub, relaxing your muscles.
You love them, right?
All this stuff, I do, and because with this, the other side of things, the super duper cold, quick baths that people are taking up, I get it, and I understand that why it works, but the shock of that cold water, forget it, man.
So
I just can't do it.
It is the trendy thing now.
It is.
Even I think Kate Middleton says she enjoys doing it.
It's too much for me.
Now, I've done it, with the polar bear plunge, which is, going in. But the notion of doing that, who did we talk to has one?
It's,
Chef
Brian
Brian Duffy.
Duffy.
Yeah.
Swears by it.
I did it a bunch of times this summer.
What did you think?
I mean, I really liked it, but when you get like the temperature that Brian Duffy got his down to, it's tough. Like,
to get it that cold, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can get it. You throw ice in there or whatever. But I'm saying to sit in there for as long as he does at that temperature, it's tough.
Yeah, I'll take the hot tub.
Yeah, I mean, my body hurts right now for some reason. I did a nice number on myself yesterday. Well, no, not that. But like, at the gym that I go to, they have a hot tub, but I don't want to sit there with me and Madge, and
Right, and whatever else is floating up on their cooter.
Yeah, it's just
Did you just say that?
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
But it's
What is that? An apple?
I used to soak in the hot tub like after every workout, and I don't do that anymore. It's just not relaxing. You know what I mean? I feel like
You're
I
a
need
very sociable guy, though. I find that interesting.
Nobody talks to each other in those places. Yeah.
All right. God, when I was a kid, my family, we belonged to a country club, and that's when, hot tubs and that was all new.
Oh,
right.
But the thing was, it was in the men's. No, it wasn't a fancy joint.
Okay.
It was in the men's locker room, and everybody went in
Naked?
totally naked.
Like, come on.
That was never my.
And
no.
I was like,
Yeah.
4th grade, 5th grade, naked with full-grown men in there.
Yeah.
The best.
I'm probably repressing something.
Also,
What's your name, little fella?
Yeah, totally.
Hey, you got a deep voice,
I'm
little
sure
fella.
something happened.
You're just like a little man. Look at you.
all right, so I got to bring this up to you guys because I walked into the locker room late last week, and this is what I noticed, and I feel like that this is a faux pas. And I see people, sitting their bare asses down on the benches. I see people shaving and doing all sorts of stuff, but this dude was using the community hair dryer to dry his ball sack.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's actually quite common.
Yeah.
I'll see people complain about that. You'll see it pop up on social media.
mean,
come on, old guy.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything to the hair dryer.
I know.
But you don't want to
why?
see that.
No.
You don't want to see that.
Stop it.
I told you we were at the Philadelphia Country Club and we were playing an outing. I came around a corner, dude had dropped something, and he was in a 3-point stance, buck naked, and I saw a brown eye, man, right as I rounded that corner.
Why does anyone think anyone wants to see that?
I don't know.
There's definitely a level of exhibition
Put your
involved with it.
underwear on and then pick up what
The
You
old
walk in
wrinkly-
and you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah. There's my brown-eyed girl right there. All right, well, anyhow, hot tubs are good for you. All right, let me see. I do have, I think, one more that we can get to. And I found this kind of interesting. Let's go with this one. If you host some people, guest.
Yes. Unexpected guests?
Not unexpected, actually expected. The question is, do you have hosting anxiety?
Oh, man.
And do you really?
No, my fiance does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
she-
wife
It says
probably
here,
does.
71% of Americans, Nick, need a day to prepare for
yeah.
guests.
God,
One of the biggest fights my wife and I ever got into was over my hosting anxiety.
Oh, yeah?
Because I as a non-drinker, I didn't realize that if you just provide booze,
Oh, everybody's
you're,
happy.
You're set.
Yeah.
So my thing is, what if they don't have a good time? What if it's not a good time? What if we run out of food? And my wife is like, don't worry. And she obviously was a sane person,
Right.
And I'm a lunatic.
I don't think so. I think that's normal. I think that's what the study's proving.
But since then, now I love throwing parties.
Okay.
I love doing.
So you've come around.
I've come around. I get it now. I love to see people having a good. I go into Gatsby mode.
Well, that's interesting because my Andrea is like you used to be, Steve. She has the fear of it. But my ex-wife loved hosting. So like she loved having people over, would love to get prepared for it, feeding people like the mindset that you're in now.
Yeah.
But we don't have parties now because Andrea just gets anxious about it.
Well, trust me, I know exactly what she's feeling. And once you get, once you realize that the people are there because they like you in general,
Right.
and also if you feed them and give them some booze, you're good. And then you just sort of curate the evening. So our holiday party is usually about 50, 55 people at our house, and it moves of its own momentum. And for some reason, the perception is you've got to be Blackstone up there doing magic tricks. No, you just let the party happen.
So, okay, at first I thought you were going to talk about sort of how I feel, but it's not anxiety. I like to host. I do a good job at it, so it's not like it makes me nervous or anything like that.
Right.
But
I'd imagine you do a hell of a job.
But the stress that I go through to host because I know that I'm a good host and I know what people expect of me. Like, so I actually had my brothers come over one time and they were like, wait, where's the whatever, or did you get this?
Oh, you set the bar high.
I set the bar high, and now it's like every party, every like anything that's hosted, it's like there's got to be like we had a pumpkin carving, just
we
little
used to
gathering
do those until
and
everyone stopped coming.
But I was like, normally I would make like little, I don't know, like I would peel all of the clementines and then stick a little green stem in it so they could have a little pumpkin to snack on, or like I'd make all those little things. I made little Santa skewers with fruit and with the marshmallow ones, like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff
I completely
like
know,
that.
and that adds on a whole. So Claire would do the same thing with little like the gifts for guests, and then what's going to be the gift, and what are we going to do? A lot of that. So when you weigh it out, if you can get a catered in some way, right, with somebody you like,
right? Yeah.
You know,
I'm not cooking,
right?
Yeah.
In other words, and if they
that's
can,
not where the stress comes from.
but if they can provide a lot of that, and you can, you know what I'm saying, take stuff off, because a lot of times, if you're purchasing and the food and making it yourself, and if you crunch the numbers, as Jackie Bamber would say, it ends up being about the same.
But like even if I'm not cooking and I'm catering, like the plates and the silverware have to match.
Okay.
And
You go full Martha Stewart.
Yeah, like the napkins have to match the plates.
So just a couple of numbers, and we have to take a break. 71% need a day to prepare for guests. 18% feel they never have enough seating. 14% worry about having food for everyone. And this is the interesting one. 31% worry so much about their guests that they forget to enjoy themselves at their own party. And I've had that happen for sure.
Yeah, that's me.
So you're not alone.
That was the critical thing in deciding that it's better to bring in people if you're going to do something like that, because
if you can afford it,
Claire, and obviously, and you can do it in all sorts of different ways. You get the local deli, to put together platters or whatever. But if you can free, yourself from the kitchen so you can enjoy your own damn party, that's cool.
Potluck.
Potluck.
Have people bring in.
Potluck.
All right, that's it. We're done at the JSI. But thank you for stopping by, and hopefully you learned a thing or two. It's like Fat Albert.
It is Fat Albert.
Hope you learned something.
Without the wine.
Yeah. So with that, we are going to take a break, because when we come back, an announcement, some information to share with you that we're very excited about, and we will have that along with the Bizarre File. And then shortly after that, our buddy Derrick Pitts from the Franklin Institute stopping by, and Mr. Chris Tucker is going to be on the show today. So we got a lot going on. Be back in a moment.
Ezra Miller, we know there's a new Flash movie that is in the works. We get to see a bit of what the Speed Force concept looks like, which is very cool.
Sure.
Cyborg's dad, Silas Joe Morton, we see a little bit more of him. And, and what I love is that Steppenwolf
has a really amazing arc. Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Steppenwolf, in that version, it was like, what? Why are you so pissed off? What is this about? With Darkseid in the mix, you I guess from what I understand and what I've read, is that Steppenwolf comes off more as he's just trying to please his boss, and he's is that correct?
There's a family issue. Yeah, he has a lot of. I mean, Kieran Hines, who voices him, is amazing, and I think brings this amazing gravitas, and I would say, frankly, he brings a lot of sympathy to the character. I mean, I know it's hard to believe that you might feel sympathetic toward this big spiky monster from space who's into world domination and has a giant axe and is just basically chopping everybody in half. But he's got his own problems.
But that's what you need. To me, I've always hated a villain, and I've said this countless times on the show. A mustache-twirling, one-dimensional villain does nothing for me. A villain that you can slightly understand the impetus for is far more interesting.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I wanted to ask and double back to Ray Fisher, because I was reading something about him. For those who don't know, he's the one who plays Cyborg. Actually, he's from the area.
Yeah, yes.
We spoke to him years ago. He apparently has had a great reaction to the Snyder Cut. I read this morning that he absolutely loved it. Now, he had his issues with the replacement and its controversies, and we won't get into that here. But how does that feel to you to know that he's happy with what he's seen?
Well, Ray's a buddy, and I just when I hired him and when we started this process, it was really, to me, it was all about honoring the character as best I could, and I just anytime an actor sees the movie and is moved by it and enjoys it, that's for me the ultimate the ultimate in vindication, and it makes me super happy. So I'm glad that Ray got to enjoy it. Cool. And I saw that video of him where he was just going nuts. So
he watched it in a hotel room too. Apparently, it was
Yeah, not the best viewing experience, but you can see that if it plays in a hotel room,
it'll play anywhere.
Hey, Zach, I wanted to ask, first of all, I wanted to thank you for joining us today, because I know today's a huge day, and I'm sure everybody wanted a piece of you. And so the fact that you woke up early, it's like 5 o'clock in your time right now, that you woke up early, that you're spending some time with us, I want to thank you for that. But I also want to ask, why did you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to call in to Philadelphia radio? I would like to think that you like our show, but is it because you have family in the area?
Look, I'm a friend of the show, and I really do. I love you guys. Whenever I get a chance, if you guys, when I see the text arrive on my phone, we're doing a show, you want to jump on? I'm like, let's go.
Hey, I have a question. Since we're doing this via Zoom and we can see into your domicile there, do you play piano?
My kids do.
Okay.
My kids play.
There's a piano book behind you and a piano. I was going to have you tickle the ivories there for us a little bit if that was the case.
By the way, if I could, I would jump on. I would play a little, I don't know what, but I'd be, and sing, of course.
Speaking of music, though, just to bring up this point, everyone's raving about the new music for the film, and explain what happened.
Junkie did this again when I left. Junkie XL, who does the score, they replaced him as well. And then when I came back to finish the movie, Junkie, I called him and I said, "We're doing the movie. We're going to finish it." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "Do you have any music left over?" And he goes, "You know what? I'm going to do it all from scratch. I want to start over." And so he just, it's 4 hours, pretty much 4 hours of music. And it's unbelievable. He just destroyed it. And we are doing it's coming out. I don't know exactly when it comes out. We'll have to check out, but we're doing a vinyl box. So if you're into vinyl,
oh wow,
they're gonna do a full release of the soundtrack on vinyl, and that's pretty cool. As well as, of course, at Apple Music, you can check it out.
Well, Zach, I'd like to ask a follow-up question about that topic, because I loved the soundtrack for Man of Steel. It was Hans Zimmer did that. Do you have favorite composers that you like working with, and how do you end up choosing one? Because there are a lot of great ones out there, and Hans is legendary. So why change, in the same cinematic universe and do a different composer?
Hans and Junkie worked together. That's why I met Junkie. He came, from sort of Hans's camp. And that's how we sort of got together. And then, because the two of them did Batman versus Superman together.
Okay.
And then then when we went on to Justice League, I was like, "Okay, Junkie, you want to do it? You want to do the whole thing?" And he was like, "Absolutely." And we worked together. He did, he did Fury Road and a bunch of other amazing soundtracks, and it's just, and he just finished Army of the Dead for me.
When is the release on that?
Shot right over there in Atlantic City.
When's the release on that? We hear it was bumped back again.
May 21st.
May 21st. Okay. Just to also
be ready. I'll be back on the show in no time.
Oh, you bet your ass. You made a critical mistake in answering our texts, because we're going to be on you like white on rice. But I just want to convey the excitement to people who may not understand. For example, and I think I mentioned to you this to you at the campout. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the original theatrical cut, really enjoyed. Yet there were some things that to me were like, well, there didn't seem to be an explanation fully. When I saw the full director's cut with the additional footage in it, it took greatness and made it even better, because to me, all those things are filled in. To know that you've had this ability to go back and add in those little things, and I don't want to spoil anything. I had to do a little research, so I know there are a couple of new characters that make appearances that are going to rock fans' worlds. So yeah. So are you kind of like a guy who has the ultimate gift to give someone on on Christmas or whatever, and now you can get to see them unwrap it and get the reaction?
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool way to look at it. I hope fans take this opportunity to really, and I think if you haven't seen Justice League, at all, then I think this really represents an amazing opportunity to just kind of go deep into a world, and excited that people are going to get that chance.
All right, so what other press are you doing today? I know you have a watch party, so maybe you can talk a little bit about that, but where else can your fans catch you today?
Yeah, there's a watch party. I don't know if it's live, but I'm doing a thing for 300, weirdly, with Stephanopoulos, with the Hellenic League, because, it was the, I think it's the 2000, no, it's got to be more than that. It's 480 BC.
The anniversary of the Battle of Thermopylae?
Yeah, it's one of the anniversaries, but it's thousands of years. But that's exciting. So I'm talking to them.
Are you going to have anybody from the battle attending? Or?
Yeah. Leonidas is coming. So that's kind of weird that I was like, wow, that's a blast from the past, but you absolutely have to do that.
What an honor to have some of the original veterans in attendance. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We better hurry up and get their stories before it's too late.
Good, Preston. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then, I'm doing a couple of watch. Well, I don't even like you. I'm delirious, so I can't remember. I don't know.
It's early.
Well, shuttling me around, but always stopping here is important.
We appreciate that.
It was announced that you're going to do the Fountainhead. Is that correct?
Well, no, I own the Fountainhead. I don't really have we don't really have a model for it, but I've got it. It's kind of on the, I would say it's on a slow burn.
Okay.
Okay.
But, we'll see. The next thing I'm doing, I'm trying to do this small movie that I wrote with my friend Kurt Johnstad, who actually wrote the script. Called Horse Latitudes, and it's a movie that we want to just go shoot in South America, with two guys, and it's like a real.
I guess this is a surprise. Fifth on the list are people that work in bars and restaurants, okay? And then four, people that work in the transportation industry. Number three, healthcare workers, doctors, nurses.
They have long shifts,
Yes, they do.
Don't they have places to sleep in the hospital?
That's right. Beds.
Hello, Grey's Anatomy.
And then teachers, number two. And then number one is like a sales department, people selling stuff where you go from business to business or door to door.
They're bopping around a lot. I could see that. Their afternoons are kind of open. They have holes in their schedule.
All right.
Holes.
How do I close this deal?
Yes, all of that stuff. Now, the transportation, though, that's kind of threw me off a little bit. Are we talking like bus drivers, or what do you mean?
It said people working in logistics jobs. I have no idea what job that is.
Yeah, number crunchers, I don't get. I can see this. I think opportunity, as you pointed out, Alex, like a hospital. They're sharing long hours and long shifts, and so people who are on your schedule are more likely to be the object of your desire.
But teachers?
Yeah, I found that.
Well, it's all that chalk.
Now, going back to the transportation thing, I did know someone who worked in the airline industry as a flight attendant.
Oh, yeah.
And you're bopping around all over the place, staying over here and there. You're meeting people constantly. That is a perfect opportunity for you right there.
Oh, now my mother was a flight attendant for a long time, but she said it was the pilots. Because they would go over and have longer layovers, after a flight.
It's all about the layover. Yeah.
And you believed her.
Oh, you trying to say my mother is? What are you?
Well, her name is Sharon.
Wow.
Well, I can see. Well, isn't that the classic trope of the pilot?
Yeah.
It's got something going in every location.
She said they would have like other families in other cities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys ever visit your other families or no?
I have a wife and child in Conshohocken.
Oh,
hi, sweetheart.
Here's your wife.
Hi, honey.
By the way, she says we need milk on the way home.
Bring milk. Almond milk, though.
I'll see you this afternoon, honey.
All right.
Love
you.
Good, everybody. It's Wednesday, November.
All right, see you guys. Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. But I could totally see people in sales that are in the car all day long, going from location to location, and they could have a little hookup, a meetup during a workday easily.
This list is just trying to cause issues because I remember you specifically, you had a list a couple of years ago, Preston, and number one on the list, and we were shocked at it, was a dentist. That they were most likely to cheat. And we were like, where does that come from? Why? Whatever. And, now it's just a whole new list.
Yeah, so who knows? I think they're yanking our chain.
Yeah, that's actually another occupation. Chain yankers.
Chain yankers.
Tend to cheat.
I think that with all that yanking.
Yeah, it just gets you horny.
At some point, yeah. All right, let's do B-File and then an announcement. All right, so here we go.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
I brought to you by J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. You got junk, you want it gone, then you want J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Veteran and military family owned and operated. You can visit J-Dog Junk Removal, RDSC.com. That's J-Dog Junk Removal, RDSC.com. All right, a tarantula crossing the road in Death Valley, California is being blamed for causing a massive traffic accident that sent a motorcyclist to the hospital.
What? So the tarantula ran the motorcycle off the road?
No, but the spider pileup occurred while a Swiss couple was driving their rented camper van, and all of a sudden the sightseers spotted a furry arachnid ambling across the highway, and they slammed on the brakes to avoid hitting it, causing a 25-year-old Canadian motorcyclist to plow into the back of their vehicle.
Jeez.
The motorcycle rider was subsequently sent to the hospital, where his condition remains unclear. Tarantulas are most commonly seen at this time of year when the males emerge from their burrows and are searching for a mate. Meanwhile, the spider walked away from the pileup unscathed.
Dumbasses.
The Park Service is warning drivers to be vigilant while traveling through Death Valley at this time of year. They wrote, please drive slowly, especially going down steep hills in the park. Our roads still have gravel patches due to flood damage, and wildlife of all sizes are out.
No laws against killing a tarantula, right?
No, and for whatever reason, you would think you may not see that.
Right.
But, I mean, listen, if I see like even a small turtle on the road, I'm going to slam on the brakes and not try to hit it. So maybe they were in that mindset. I don't know. A Northern California man is dead after falling about 80 feet into a silo, which was once filled with sugar. The mishap occurred at the Holly Sugar Plant in Tracy, a city between Stockton and San Francisco.
So it was empty.
Yeah, authorities reported machinery was set up near the bottom of the silo. The unidentified man apparently hit the machinery. Emergency crews needed 16 people in about an hour to remove the victim from the silo. Yeah, no, it's horrible.
See the guy they rescued from the corn silo?
No.
Yeah, guy fell into the corn. And it's like quicksand, and so the time was of the essence. They were able to open. I guess it was like an emergency dump door or something on it, and they got him out.
Silos and grain bins can be risky places. A man in Etheridge, Tennessee, died a year ago after falling 40 feet into a grain silo, and another risk comes from working inside a grain bin. 24 people died last year after becoming trapped in those bins. Yeah,
I'm crossing that job off.
I didn't
my
know it was
list.
that many. Yeah. Well, one ballsy college football fan had their dreams cut short after they were ejected from a game for wearing a giant inflatable penis costume. Sam Houston State University was up 21-10 in the second quarter of their home game when the fan in the phallic costume walked into the stadium and down the bleachers. In a video, an event staff member is seen guiding the inflatable penis back up the steps of Elliott T. Bowers Stadium. I know, it's hilarious, isn't it?
That's awesome.
I want that costume. Fellow fans can be heard cheering and laughing as the penis, which was complete with pink Crocs, makes its way to the top of the stadium. The video has since gone viral, amassing more than 1.1 million views, and hundreds of users commented on the video, laughing at the ordeal and making plenty of penis jokes for the perfect opportunity.
I love it. We're looking at it right now.
Yeah, look at this.
It
Case.
is-
Did you see it?
I did.
It's got all the right contours.
How wonderful is that? Air Canada has been forced to apologize after a man with spastic cerebral palsy was forced to drag himself off a plane when the flagship carrier failed to provide a wheelchair for him.
Oh, my God.
He had to.
Yeah.
they couldn't even carry him at least?
Listen to this. Rodney Hodgins, a hardware salesman from British Columbia who requires the use of a motorized wheelchair, flew to Vegas with his wife, Deanna, to celebrate their anniversary in August. But when the plane landed, the flight attendant told the couple there wasn't time to get a wheelchair on board before the plane had to prepare for takeoff again.
We're going to have to ask you to drag yourself off the plane. Thank you.
When the attendant said Hodgins would have to pull himself off the plane alone, the couple at first thought she was joking, but then she repeated the request. And he said, I said, of course I can't. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't walk. So he was forced to use his upper body strength to haul himself past 12 rows of seats while his wife was holding his legs.
So if you dig your nails into the carpet, you can pull your body along.
In his Facebook post, Deanna Hodgins said that the event left the couple devastated. She said, it took us struggling in front of a dozen people as some looked away and others looked on with shame to get him off of the plane. He hurt his legs and I hurt my back. Emotionally, it was a lot more hurt. My husband's human rights were trampled on, and Air Canada won't respond to us and never did reach out like they promised.
Ma'am, why don't you take his belt, wrap it around his neck, and you can pull him by that?
She said the couple had planned the trip for 8 months and made sure that they took care of all the requirements on their end. Air Canada failed us in every sense. She said the company acknowledged that Hodgins received inadequate support.
Yeah, this is not going to end up in their travel brochure.
So he was offered a $2,000 flight voucher by the airline, but said compensation would not fix the problem of how the airline failed its disabled passengers. He said, I just want to make a difference for somebody else so they don't have to experience that again. That is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. All right, and then finally we'll end with this, and it touches on a subject we talked about yesterday. A man dressed in a banana costume sought to slip out of police custody after being caught early urinating on a Key West sidewalk, according to police who had to chase the fleeing reveler. After being flagged down about a white male in a banana costume relieving himself on the side of a building across from a row of porta potties.
Oh, come on.
A Key West Police Department officer spotted Kyle Mortimer urinating on the sidewalk. He's 20 years old, by the way, so he's underage. Mortimer immediately fled after Officer Michael Chostet identified himself. While Mortimer was zigzagging to prevent capture, a second cop grabbed him by the peel. Mortimer then twisted away, and Chostet used a leg sweep to knock him to the ground.
That always takes down a banana.
Even then, Mortimer interlaced his fingers and held them tightly together in a bid to stymie his handcuffing. But after being collared around 1:20 a.m. in front of the Smokin' Tuna Saloon, Mortimer was...
That's some good tuna.
...walked by police to nearby Old City Hall, where he was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. He's scheduled for arraignment on the 16th.
At any point, did he slip on himself?
And Mortimer was still dressed like a banana when he posed for his booking photo.
And by the way, I think an average banana costume could fit into a porta pot, no problem.
I think he would have no problem. And that is what I have in the bizarre file for you. All right, we have an announcement to make. Was excited to hear the details about this just yesterday, and now we can officially announce it. It is the return, and we'll give you the dates and everything, of the Preston and Steve Cardboard Classic. Ladies and gents, we had such a great time last year at Montage Mountain, or I should say this year, at Montage Mountain, that we are going to go there again. We have the date and an announcement about something taking place there as well. So it will be Friday, March 1st.
Yes.
Sled registration will begin in late December, so we'll have details on the way. But this is awesome. Cardboard Classic is kicking off Mountain Fest at Montage, and performing that night after the Cardboard Classic. I love this. Collective Soul is going to be playing.
Cool is that?
Great band. We have a great relationship with those guys, and this is just absolutely perfect.
I mean, we were so blown away by our inaugural experience at Montage. It was everything we've always wanted the Cardboard Classic to be, and we're so excited for this year.
Yeah, so you know what? You can start making reservations if you want to now. Friday, March 1st, come out, you know, the night before, stay the night, have a great time, get up to the Cardboard Classic, obviously, which is its own legend. And then that night, Collective Soul is on stage at Mountain Fest, right there, where we do the Cardboard Classic from. It's right at the base of the hill.
Yeah.
because last year was Everclear, and so they're doing it again, but with Collective Soul this time. So stoked about that. And then on Saturday, if you want to make the whole weekend out of it, OAR and the 502s.
That's cool. Love the 502s.
Are going to be playing.
Yeah. Oh, I got a couple of their songs on my iTunes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tickets for Mountain Fest concerts are on sale now. Any live ticket for one of those days is valid for concert entry. Season pass holders get in free, and VIP packages are available. And you can go to WMMR.com and click on events and get the information for Cardboard Classic.
So excited. And you know what's so cool is that there's a town there. There's an actual, there's commerce, there's restaurants, there's movie theaters. So you can literally make a long weekend of it, no problem.
Yeah. I mean, Lake Harmony is nice and everything. And we enjoy
wonderful.
that, but there's very little for you to do in that area. There's plenty. There's lots of restaurants, movie theaters, all kinds of things for you to make the whole weekend out of. And obviously, not only the Cardboard Classic, but you can go snowboarding and skiing and tubing and all the stuff, and go to Mountain Fest with freaking Collective Soul.
Freaking Collective Soul.
Friday, March 1st. And like we said, the details, WMMR.com. Click on events. So we're excited about that. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back in just a moment. And we'll get our buddy Derrick Pitts from the Franklin Institute in a little later on. Comedian and actor Chris Tucker is going to be joining. So we got a busy morning. We'll be right back.
Movie, and then
that's got to be refreshing. That's going to have to be.
Yeah,
that's like
just want to go
a complete diversion.
And the actors, you know what I mean. So that's fun.
Cool. What does this mean? Just quickly, you've got this. The reaction so far has been tremendous. Everything sort of stopped for the Snyderverse. Do you think HBO Max? Do you think we are seeing perhaps the potential for allowing you to complete your longer game in this?
Listen, I mean, I don't, that's not necessarily, I didn't make it with that intention. We did make the movie with the, when we originally filmed the movie, we assumed there would be 2 more movies. That's kind of how the movie's made. There's a cliffhanger at the end, and I know it's rude that there's a cliffhanger for a movie that may not get a sequel, but it's just the way it was constructed, and I wanted to do it exactly as we had talked about. Look, I didn't think I'd be sitting here talking to you guys about this. Yeah. So, you never know. Stranger things have happened. So.
All right. Well, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but Army of the Dead is going to be released on May 21st. And I don't know if we talked about where is it going to be released? I don't know if we.
That's on Netflix.
It's Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix has been amazing. You are going to get, trust me, you will know where Army of the Dead is playing and what it's about. Netflix does not. They do not play.
They like to advertise.
You trust me. And the trailer,
I saw it.
Coming really soon in April, like right at the beginning of April, like I think middle-ish of April, and the new trailer is just it's a butt kicker. I don't want to say the A word because I know I'm radio.
You can say ass.
Yeah, and I would say ass kicker.
Well, then it is a ass kicker.
I do want to thank you again for joining us this morning, and then also I want to thank you because when I was texting with you the other day, my son was next to me, and I go, "Hey, I just got a text from Zack Snyder," and he was like, "No way!" And so I looked really, really cool, and he was like, "Tell him I said hi. I'm a huge fan." So I did, and then you texted back, and then I promised him I would say this. He said, "You have to put a character in your next movie whose name is Seamus, because that is his name."
Oh my God!
So there you go.
There we go.
It's super Seamus.
Yeah. Oh my God. My son's name is Ben. If you want to toss that in.
No.
Leave Zach alone.
Soon he's going to be doing shout-outs.
Yeah, right.
Well, listen, Zach, thanks again. It's a big day for you, and also for AFSP, like you said. People bring awareness to that and suicide prevention and getting therapy and for people who need it. So we appreciate the time. Yes, Casey?
Yeah, we do have information about that on our website.
Okay, yep. It's located.
That's
if you'd like to donate, you can.
Our pleasure.
Great to talk to you, Zach. Good luck with everything and congratulations.
All right. You can go check out Justice League on HBO Max, and I will talk to you guys later.
Outstanding. Zack Snyder, guys. Wow.
Huge.
Stoked for tonight.
Yes.
Or as soon as you gonna watch it today?
I want to watch it straight through, and it's a tough thing on a school night. So I'm going to try. If not, it'll be tomorrow because I want to live and go into this world. I'm so damn excited.
All right, we're going to get right into this with the story. I love this one. It's about the band Korn. So when it came time to choose a name for the band, they had considered being called Larry.
Oh, stop it.
Larry.
This is a great story. That was the name of their manager at the time,
Larry,
who had told them that they could not call their band Korn. Now, Jonathan Davis told Revolver Magazine that he responded, "Well, we're going to name it Larry then." And he's like, "F you." And I said, "Look, it's either going to be Larry or Korn. You effing pick it." And once they decided on a name, Davis said that the logo, this is interesting too.
Which is the K?
Well, it's the name, Korn, drawn out. The logo came about when he grabbed a crayon and wrote Korn with his left hand.
Oh, there you go.
Gosh.
And got all jaggedy.
And that's it. Yep.
Look at these people spend millions of dollars on highfalutin graphic artists.
Yep. Davis said that he credits them getting their record deal due to the number of stickers with their logo on it that they had stuck all over town. We had to share this little story. So every evening at 6 o'clock, we do a quick conference call with us, with the members of the show, just to see where we are in preparation for the following day's show. If there's anything notable that we need to be aware of, interviews and so on. And that also includes topic conversations. And so we're getting ready to wrap up the call last night, and then Kathy's got one more thing to add.
Well, Steve, so I was at a bachelorette, and Steve's like, did bachelorette produce anything? I was like, no, not really. It was actually pretty low-key. And then I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
There was one thing.
There was one thing. I was talking to these girls. You remember how last week how Preston was saying that he likes to make sure that, his sexual partner has achieved.
Right.
Gets the cookies. Before going for the main course. And then Kathy says, and I'll say this verbatim because it's not vulgar or anything like that. She said, I didn't know until I talked to these girls that not all women will have an orgasm by having sex.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden you hear Casey go, I guess I should have told you guys that I'm in the car and have the Bluetooth on and Seamus is sitting next to me.
I also brought up something from another conversation we're going to have about the wall sitting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. But even that was more benign.
I just I was sex, orgasm, just all the words.
All the words.
Yeah.
Coming out of Kathy's mouth.
And so Seamus is just sitting there in the passenger seat, and I just look over at him, and I can see him smiling, right?
God.
He's just pretending like he didn't hear anything, and I'm like, okay, he heard everything. Now, here's
I didn't think Kathy had orgasms.
Well,
I mean, and honestly, of all people,
yes.
and this is not the first. This is the second time that I've done this with Seamus in the car.
I don't
remember the first time.
The first time I called in a couple minutes late, and you had already announced that you were in the car with your kids. I didn't hear it, so at the end of I think I cursed, I said the F word or something like that, but I was joking around trying to make you guys laugh, and then there was silence, and Casey was like, did you not hear me say I was in the car with my kids? And I was like, nope, I sure didn't.
Sorry. Here's the deal. I don't even know if he knows what that O word is.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, I'm sure he knows all about.
Right.
But the main juxt of the conversation, the gist, whatever. Yeah. I sound like anyway. The main gist of the conversation, it being the O and women not getting to that. I don't even know if that all that stuff could have gone over his head, and he probably was looking that word up.
Yeah. How old is he?
He's in 8th grade.
Maybe.
I don't know. But the kids have the internet these days.
Yeah, those kids.
Yeah,
and their
if
internet.
not, he knows now.
I'll tell you this, though, that's something that I've never had to deal with because it's just my wife, or we're transporting pets in the car. But it's such a common thing. There's no way that doesn't happen all the freaking time.
Yeah, Shell and I instituted a standard greeting, which if you're in the car and Rochelle says it to me, she goes, "Hi, you're on speaker. So and so is in the car with me." Like that's the first thing that comes out of her mouth.
Say hi.
Yeah.
Now, in my defense, when I joined the call, there was already a conversation going on, so I couldn't bust in and go, "Hey, by the way, I'm a speaker." I just
normally it's okay. Like the majority of our calls
is pretty benign.
It doesn't get that detailed or graphic.
But when you're all worked up and horny, it comes through.
Apparently I needed to.
Kathy was all horned up.
Well, Casey a couple of weeks ago suggested maybe we do, I forget, it was like Zoom call or FaceTime or something for our conference calls. And I was like, I can't do that because my phone is always on speaker, like when I do the conference call, because it's dinner time and we're either cooking, cleaning, like whatever it is, and Jace is always there. And when I feel like sometimes there'll be like a curse that slips, I'm like, and I gotta quick get the phone and put it up to my ear.
Yeah. So whenever I talk to my buddy Jeff on the phone, you're pretty sure that the conversation is going to go to an NC-17 rating,
right?
So we always will go, "Are you on speaker? Are you alone?" or whatever.
Right.
I mean, but with our conference call, and also my kids are older now, so it's like, but when they were children, it was like, "Hey guys, by the way, I got the kids in the car."
Well, it's for me, it's like my a Christmas story. We heard all that stuff from my dad, and so it was all part of the deal. But we never received calls through Bluetooth in the car.
Yeah.
I was in the back seat when my dad was driving. It was something that didn't happen.
Did anybody see the South Park quarantine special?
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched it with my son over the weekend, and the last 5 minutes of it, there is a giant phallus that Mr. Garrison is carrying back into town. And my son, who is a little bit older than Seamus Casey, could not stop laughing. But he was laughing so hard that he was like holding the pillow in front of his face. So like we dance around the topic, but the older he gets, the dancing just becomes less overt. You're just like, "No, right, that's fine." Like he knows you don't want to be the person. I don't know. You don't want to be like overt about it, but you also know that he knows.
Listen, I've told my, and I say this time and time again. Listen, my kids are going to hear this stuff in the schoolyard, which is fine.
Right.
I don't want them teaching this stuff in the schoolyard. There's a difference, right? So
you want them getting shed talks.
No, but at the same time, with the whatever they're watching, it's like, all right, there's that weird fine line between condoning and encouraging.
Yes.
And so I don't, like, my son is now watching clips of The Family Guy, and he's getting such a kick out of it, and I hear him cracking up. And
At the
my
dirty
wife,
parts?
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's, but my wife's like, it's not appropriate for him. I'm like, well, I know what I watched when I was 13 years old.
I think my like with my situation, my dad just got tired of trying to restrict because and then my mother just sort of gave up. We tried, and and we were fine, but a lot of the stuff just went over our heads, and then eventually it was like somehow I just remember knowing about it. I forget exactly where I became aware of it. It was a combination of both the schoolyard and my dad.
Yeah. I've got my two olders. They can say whatever they want to.
Right.
It's free reign now. I mean, they're 20 and 18.
Right.
So whatever, and they will say stuff in front of my 13-year-old. So it's everything now
is on the table,
except for like graphic sex or anything like that. You know what I mean? So you can. I love when parents say, they've heard everything. When they're talking about their kid who's a toddler, he's heard everything. But
no, they haven't.
He may have heard all the words, not in a specific order though.
Yeah,
which can make it very graphic and dirty.
Well, like Chuck D'Amico, right? So Chuck D'Amico is part of our pod. I work with Chuck, and then so my kids and we see each other on the weekends. Chuck D'Amico says things that are like, I was like, I would never say that in front of my kids.
Yeah.
And he says it in front of my kids, and I'm like, well, I guess this is just where we are now, Like,
wait, Chuck says stuff in front of his kids that you wouldn't say in front of your kids.
He says it in front of my children. He says it in front of my children.
Like what?
All right, so for instance, we were playing...
Using your mouth on a donkey?
No. Is it Scattergories?
Yeah.
We were playing Scattergories, right? And the things that are round came up, and the letter was T. And he said, and I'll just, so he said tiny toddies, but it wasn't toddies.
Right.
It was, boobs. And I was like, and like...
You were like, we don't say that.
So
That's 2 points, man.
You also, I know that, but you also have to remember, I also have Like, I have the youngest of everybody, too.
Yeah.
So my sixth grader is there. My sixth grade daughter is there as well. So
That's not appropriate.
It's not. It is not.
So what you're saying is he's a bad dad.
Well, I'm saying he often forgets, and that we all have different parenting styles. So he might have said that in front of his sixth grade daughter but she's a sophomore in high school now. So there's a difference. And
you lose track.
When he did that, my wife and I looked at each other like, do I say something? Well, I'm saying something to him now. Don't say stuff like that in front of my daughter, right? Don't say stuff like that in front of my 11-year-old daughter, my 11-year-old Catholic school daughter.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Kathy, don't talk about orgasms in front of my son.
But I didn't.
Unless you're going to teach him how to give one to a.
Oh God, stop it!
Dear Lord.
Stop.
We are crossing
No, I don't want to
territories.
do that. Yeah, this isn't good.
By the way, I just jotted down. I need to watch South Park movie with my sons. I don't think we've ever seen that, and that gets as dirty as you can possibly get.
And watch this quarantine special because it's pretty damn funny.
Okay. And there's a huge phallus in it at some point?
Yeah.
Because there's a little one in the South Park movie where Saddam Hussein whips out.
Right. No, this is a giant man gets turned into a penis and gets hauled into town.
All right. Nice. All right. Well, anyhow, if Kathy's on your call and you're on Bluetooth with your children, make sure you say something because otherwise there's going to be
just let loose.
But
an
literally, I would be the
moment.
last person to say something in front of a kid.
Are we still on for the swingers party tonight?
Stop. Oh, God.
By the way, today is National Cheesesteak Day.
Yes.
So I figured
it's a food thing.
Food is on the brain.
Yeah.
And, we're gonna do some giveaways with Steakum in a little bit, who have stopped by this morning to give us some stuff to give to you. But let's have a seat and have a meal, if you will.
It's time for the connoisseur in honor of National Cheesesteak.
WMMR.
All right, thank you, Kathy. There is a new exhibit that is opening up at the Franklin Institute this weekend, and it is called Wondrous Space. And it's supposed to be this immersive sensory experience.
I'm so looking forward to this.
They've got a couple of levels set up, and they always do such a great job at the Franklin Institute. And we are happy to welcome our next guest, as always, to our studio this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, of the chief astronomer of the Franklin Institute, Derrick Pitts, is with us once again. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. We love having you in here.
Yeah, cool.
So with the new exhibit opening up, what can you tell us about what we can expect? I know there's a lot of things, but is there an overall theme of this exhibit?
Space.
Just a little.
Can you refine that? Can you narrow that down?
Of course. Yeah, certainly. So this experience with space is very much different from any other kind of experience with space exhibits you may have. In this exhibit, what we're trying to do is we want to try to give people as much of a full-body, hands-on experience with these really abstract concepts about space and the universe, but we also tie it up with something else, which is who are the people that work in the space?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about the diversity of people, and we want to talk about the diversity of career opportunities that are there.
Oh, I love that.
Because we want to invite people to think about their place in space.
Did you feel, Derrick, that a little bit of, because there used to be different things, milestones in pop culture have incited people to explore space and as an occupation. Obviously, milestones in space exploration have done that.
Sure.
So we have been in a slightly fallow period for a while. It's kicking back in, I think, now with announcements of new trips to Mars and so on and so forth.
Sure. Right.
So is it a good time now? Are we picking up a head of steam about as far as populating the future space explorers?
Well, the reason why it's a good time now is because it's beginning to emerge very clearly that there's more to do as a space exploration employee than be an astronaut.
Right.
There's a lot more to do. So it's almost as if you flip it around the other way. What is your passion? Is your passion culinary? Is it welding?
Yeah.
Is it computers? Is it music? Is it medicine? What is it? There's a place for you in the space industry. So you can be connected to the space exploration thing without having to be an astronaut. And that's what people have always thought is, I can only be in this if I'm an astronaut and I have to go to space and I don't want to go to space. but there's so many other things that you can do, and the exhibit really highlights these because on this exhibit has 2 floors. Okay,
yeah, I love it.
The first floor is mostly about what's out there in the universe, black holes, galaxies, things like that. And then the second floor is a lab-like environment that looks at what these career possibilities are. And we invite you to like design your own rover, design your own rocket, make your own spacesuit, and test it on another planet. What would it be like to live in space? Those kinds of things as a way to sort of like focus people on here's what's coming in space exploration, and at the same time, here are the possibilities of what you can do in this field.
Let me ask a question, because as in the early years of space exploration, it was bare bones minimum. We got to get you out there, get you back, keep you alive. Now there is is there a hospitality industry that could be emerging? You know what I'm saying? There are creature comforts that people might expect, or things that are provided for space exploration.
Oh, it's getting way better because first, the spacesuits are beginning to look less and less like Michelin person kind of suits. And looking more streamlined and fashionable. Still functional, but starting to look more like that. But then the getting to space experience is also changing, in that it used to be that what the term was, you're a spam in a can, right? You had this really bare bones, like you said, can that you put people in, and you just get there. Nowadays, it's becoming luxurious, where there are couches for you, and there are big windows, and the food service is way better than it used to be.
Like a 10 forward in Star Trek.
Exactly. And it is moving in that direction. But at the same time, there's also this possibility that we are going to see recreational activities in the near-Earth environment in the form of, and it's still a little ways away, but like space hotels where you can vacation and take some time.
Wow.
But right now, you can go on a weekend. And just fly up to space and come back.
Yeah.
It's a little expensive, but you can still do it.
You know what's interesting, Derek, is that this illustrates the fact that that this exhibit is going to open up people's eyes to how many vocations are available within the space industry. Because whenever you come by here, the amount of questions that I want to ask you are not only are they voluminous, but they're all over the place.
I got to be right now.
Which illustrates why there's so many different things to do.
Yeah.
So all right. So on the heels of speaking about hospitality and travel and possibly in space, are there still theoretically, are they looking at things like a space elevator or anything like that, or is that concept kind of gone away?
It hasn't gone away, but it just hasn't been able to fully develop because we don't have the technology on that anywhere near ready to do anything on a large scale.
Right.
So most of that is tied to something called carbon nanotubes.
Right.
And we just don't have that, ready to go on a big scale.
But people are still going to work on that.
People are still going to work on that.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing about the exhibit is that the exhibit asks people to think about what the possibilities are in the future, not just by looking at what's happening now. I mean, after all, we have one of the artifacts in the exhibit is a 10-foot-long rocket engine. And like it's a real rocket engine. So you can look at this and you can now start to think about what's rocket propulsion going to be like in the future? And we actually give you an opportunity to design a rocket and see if you can make it work without failing. So there's a lot of crash scenarios that are going to be fun.
Of course.
So I saw a quick documentary, and it might have been on YouTube. I don't remember exactly what the source was, but and it was covering some people at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory who were responsible for this most recent solar probe that they sent out.
Parker Solar Probe,
to get it closer than anything's ever been.
Wow.
And the amount of detail and years and things that they've been working on to come up with just the proper products to use, the proper materials to get it out there, was super duper interesting, and just also speaks to, they had to go to this engineer and that person and this person, and then they had to create it, and then they had to, all this work that's put into it, and there are loads and loads of people on a fairly small piece of equipment.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about building something like a rocket engine or a satellite that's supposed to do something, and it has to exist in these really horrible environments, which we describe more of on the first floor of the exhibit, then you realize that you need a lot of people from across a lot of different disciplines to come up with a device that's going to be able to survive what the horrible conditions are in space. And that's one thing we can't avoid, is that no matter how romantically we think about exploring space. Isn't it great to fly around in zero gravity and do all this really cool stuff? But it's deadly out there.
Yeah.
And equipment does not like the space environment. So you have to come up with these really exotic materials and methods to make things work so that we can have, the stuff we have from space.
Well, I think nothing appeals. It's always appealed to me, the dreamer, and speculative fiction, science fiction, the possibility of, I think that's such a romantic aspect, as you said earlier. You mentioned music. What would be an application? Does any come to mind as far as music,
Sure, yeah. And here's the application. Look, one of the things we do on the second floor is we set up what we call habitat, the habitat in space.
Right.
And the idea is we want people to think about what it would be like to live in space. Now, think about it. If we're going to send people to Mars, the shortest trip they can possibly take is like 4 years, all together. We talked about this once before. But what are you going to take with you that's going to make you feel comfortable in this horrible alien environment? What's the first thing that people are going to say they want to have with them? They want their music.
Yeah.
Right? They want their music. So not only are you going to take what you like from your library, right, from your playlist, but you also need to have, other ways of engaging with things like music to help you feel at home. And so in the exhibit, we work on allowing people to share with us their ideas of what they would like to take with them to space.
I wonder who.
Well, yes.
Actually, no,
anybody we know.
We're very proud to have been included in this exhibit. So the members of the Presidency Show have added to the list of things that we would take with us should we be traveling in space for a certain amount of time.
By the way, it was something that I was, that's going to be fun. And then it's like, wow.
What am I really going to take?
What am I really
What
going to
do
take?
you think? This lends credence to this growing industry. Now it's time to get real. What are you taking?
It's time to get real.
Yeah,
exactly. It's time to get real.
And it's very cool.
It is really cool. So here's the other cool thing that everybody's really going to enjoy in this exhibit. We do so much immersive body-on stuff. So, for example, one of the most difficult concepts about space, getting people to understand, is size and scale. Well, how do we get people to understand size and scale when it's that big? There's just no way to wrap your head around it. Except, yes, there is. You can make it what we call a kinesthetic experience, a full body experience. So we're letting people explore the universe via trackball. Imagine a yoga ball sized trackball that you can roll that will allow you to watch through our viewport space as you fly through. So when you roll this trackball, you actually see your spacecraft, you see from your viewpoint moving out into the solar system, into the galaxy, into the universe. But the trick is, if you want to get way out in space, you and your friends, there are 2 other trackballs right nearby, you all have to roll these trackballs together, and they're heavy. So you get a real full body workout while you're doing this, but you also get to see some about the scope and size of the universe. And the trick is, we tie the amount of work you're doing to the distance you travel.
That's wild. That is a great concept because you have a tactile way of experiencing it. That makes sense because that is one of the hardest things in the world, and we've had our favorite moments in the beginning of the movie Contact when you're following the broadcast signal out into space.
Yeah.
But
How do you
still,
talk about that?
I love that concept. Well, you mentioned exercise and working out, and we know that there's bone density is lost when you're in space. The exercise industry, the application there, what might be available for someone who's into that?
Well, I think the coolest thing about this exhibit, one of the coolest things about this exhibit is that it's on 2 floors.
Yeah.
Right? Second floor, third floor around the pendulum staircase. Well, first of all, second floor adjacent to the pendulum staircase, what do we have? One of the most beloved exhibits of all at the Franklin Institute, the giant heart. So you can go right next door to the giant heart. You can learn about the heart and space and all that kind of stuff, right? So second floor and third floor of this exhibit. So what this does for us now is it actually gives us 4 floors of space-related stuff.
Wow.
We have the Fels Planetarium on the first floor.
Yeah.
We have this fantastic exhibit, which actually looks nothing like any other exhibit you've seen at Franklin Institute before. It's really gorgeous.
And that's saying a lot.
Second and third floor, right? And then on the fourth floor, there's the Holt Miller Observatory, which allows us to give people that real experience of looking at the sky and seeing the sun, very much like the Parker Solar Probe shows us. So you can have every kind of experience from planetarium up to real observing with the space wedged right in the middle. And another one of the really cool things about the space exhibit on the second floor, where we talk about exploring the universe, the black hole experience. Wouldn't you love to be spaghettified as you pass through a black hole?
To be honest, I mean, that is such a, that's obviously, besides, Christopher Nolan's help, how do you even comprehend that?
Right. How could we do an exhibit about exploring the universe if we don't talk about black holes?
Right.
So we have a really fabulous exhibit called Space Primer, in which you actually begin to learn about what is all the stuff out there in the universe. It's a narrated trip through the universe that shows you galaxies and nebulae and black holes. But we actually provide that experience of what happens when you get to the event horizon and you start to stretch out because of time dilation, the gravity pulling you, and all this other kind of stuff. And then we tie that to our gravity well experience that has an AR overlay that allows you to track the motion of the balls on the gravity well.
So that's augmented reality,
It's
correct?
augmented reality, right. So we really fold into this exhibit all sorts of new electronic capabilities that take advantage of, these technologies that make the experience far more sophisticated, enjoyable, and really relatable.
You couldn't do something like this a couple of years ago.
It's amazing how far exhibitry has come and what we're doing. I'm just stunned at how much great stuff there is in this exhibit that helps to explain all these concepts that people normally think about. And we really asked our public, tell us what you think ought to be in this exhibit. We asked school kids, we asked adults, what do you want to learn about the universe? And then we've packaged that in this really unique way that I think sets us apart from so many other space exhibits.
Is this the first stop on a tour, or is it solely here that this is occurring?
No, this is one of our new exhibits that will be our long duration exhibit. And in fact, this is one of 6 new exhibits. We'll be rolling out new exhibits every year for the next 5 years. So this one is the first one, is the space exhibit. But following this, we're going to do human body next year. And then after that, we're going to do advanced machines, then Earth systems, computer science, and then the built environment.
Wow.
So in a way, we're not shrinking, I should say we're converting from 12 exhibits down to 6 exhibits. But they're going to be much more densely packed, like a double duty kind of thing. So that, how do I say it? They're going to be like twice what the exhibits used to be in 6 exhibits, so that we can go much deeper into the topic rather than just doing a superficial skim like this space exhibit on 2 floors. We're really digging deep into all of these to help you understand not only the basic science and the advancing technology, but we're also going to help you understand what's the career opportunities that are here.
I think that's such a cool part of it.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're also going to take advantage of our ability to change as the science changes going forward into the future. So these aren't stagnant exhibits. These are changing exhibits. And we're going to take advantage of every electronic capability we can to make the experience as real as possible.
So you talk about the changing science, and so I jotted down a few things that I wanted to ask you. So the new series on Netflix, Life on Our Planet, narrated by Morgan Freeman and Steven Spielberg produced. And so I watched the first episode, and and it seems to have been getting a lot of news, at least recently, about this. What they're saying is a new theory that the dinosaurs were done in by this massive dust plume generated by this asteroid that crashed into the Yucatan, right? I believe
that's right.
So what is different, or why is this getting so? I mean, by the way, it's incredibly well depicted. I don't know if you've seen the episode, but it's amazing.
I haven't seen the episode.
The effects
but I
are
know all about it.
astonishing. Yeah. But that was kind of always my understanding. What delineates this from previous perceptions about what went down?
One of the things that separates this from other sort of hints or stories about this or ideas about this is a lot of the work that was done before was theoretical in the sense that you could identify in geology around the planet the layer of residue left over from the impact of the asteroid. So we knew it was real.
It's amazing.
You can find it all over the
Yeah.
planet, right? But the other thing that's happened is there's been a new fossil field that's identified way up on the North American continent that is the result of the impact throwing a huge amount of water from the Gulf of Mexico up onto the continent. And you actually can see how in that instance, thousands and thousands of dinosaurs were killed and frozen in place. Not frozen, but buried in place. And we can tie that scene directly to the impact. And so now we can actually see what happened just a few hours after the impact as it killed off dinosaurs around the world.
Wow.
So that's one of the things that makes it really different.
I love this about science, at the fact that as we continue to evolve, science continues to evolve in what we learn about the past as well. So we're taught that this is what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
But we're learning more. We're continuing to learn more about our past, which may not completely negate things that we've already learned, but it might add to them. It might augment them. It might change them slightly.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And the scientific community is the first to go, oh, yeah, by the way, that thing that we believe forever, here's a little bit more about that now.
Right.
You
so
know
we
what
have
I mean?
we're going to change what we were talking about before because now we know more.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
We
exactly.
know more now.
I wanted to ask, as a scientist, because Steve always jokes about if you tell his brother that the universe goes on forever and it has no end, like he's just immediately like,
Yeah.
As a scientist, when you get to concepts like that and black holes and the universe and, the really, really, really big stuff, does it ever get overwhelming? Does it ever, or is it because you've studied it so much that it's fairly common for you to take a concept like that? You know what I mean? As opposed to going, wow, we're talking about.
I do. I know what you mean.
And mind-blowing
There's a
stuff. majesty
to the almost that it's like it.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a whole lot wrapped up in that because, first of all, in like everyday professional life, we're used to the scale in the sense that, mathematically we can sort of get it and understand how these things relate to each other scale-wise. And it all fits nicely. Stars are this big, the universe is this big. Okay, fine. We understand this is the environment they have to live in. But then in your everyday life, like as a regular person, you're like, what?
Yeah,
Totally. Are you for real?
Right.
It's that big? Wait a minute. And I say this to myself all the time. I learn something new about some kind of star. And I'm like, it's doing what?
Yeah.
How can it do that? How can it do that?
Seeing Derrick Pitts almost mouth the F word was a joy.
And you know what? And the other thing I think is like, if this is going on, oh my gosh, that means it's possible for all of this other kind of stuff to happen
there we
too,
go.
right?
Yeah.
But then comes your majesty part, right? Because now I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. How does this process manage to manifest itself in a way that seems completely normal to the universe?
Yeah.
And just flows along as naturally as if this is the way it should be, yet we're not quite able to understand how, like, the macro part of all this exploding stuff and all this stuff happening ties directly to the micro stuff. Because the thing about the universe is, when you talk about quantum level stuff happening at the very smallest level, the very biggest stuff is totally dependent on that quantum level stuff. So if you want to talk about majesty and connection all the way around the whole circle, I just do not know.
There's a beautiful sequence at the end of Richard Matheson, who's a genius, one of my favorite writers of all time, in The Incredible Shrinking Man. And at the end of the film, the script that he wrote, he is shrinking down. He's able to walk through a screen, one square in a screen. And he's dwarfed by that. But he looks up into the sky and he says he realizes the expanse and his minutia all meet.
Yes.
And that is a mind-blowing concept, that he is not insignificant, that it's all connected.
So I think that, no matter how sort of jaded or objective any scientist is, I think every scientist involved in whatever discipline they're in starts out being two things: curious and amazed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazed.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't care how, cool they think they are or how restrained they think they are. I think if you scratch down there, you're going to find that they are just blown away.
I'm glad you hear that. I'm glad you hear that. Yeah.
That's why I love what I do. Every day I'm blown away by what's happening in the
There's a book by Bill Bryson. It's called A Short History of Nearly Everything. And he's the same guy that wrote A Walk in the Woods. And basically it covers the entire history of everything, the whole universe, right? And it starts off as big as possible, and then it goes down to the smallest things that you can possibly imagine. One thing that he covers quite a bit is how delicate this planet is, and how thin the atmosphere is, and the space in between the Earth's crust and the infinite of space, right? The outer space. He also goes into the most terrifying stuff that's out there that could wipe out our planet, a solar flare or a massive asteroid or whatever, right? So from your learned perspective, Derrick, what from outer space that could destroy...
What's going to bite us in the ass
What's going to kill us? What scares you the most?
Nick, I've jotted down what is the most dangerous thing in the universe. Because everyone wants to know.
As precarious as it all seems, fortunately, all this stuff is really nicely balanced out.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's the chance stuff that we really have to worry about. And there are two chance things we really have to be concerned about. One is a rogue asteroid.
Yeah.
Fortunately, NASA and a number of other space agencies around the world are working really hard to catalog everything they can find, right? So they've done that well enough now that we know we have about 100 years or so in which we do not have to worry about any big thing coming to smack us that we know of.
Right. And everyone in this room is cool.
That's the one concept when it comes along. I'm like, okay, that could happen.
That could happen.
It could really happen.
That could happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are also agencies working on the technology to see what we can do to mitigate that, okay? But then the other thing that we can't predict is we got this big bright thing in the sky, our lovely star, and it's kind of percolating along just fine. But we don't really understand how that thing works.
Yeah.
And we don't understand the cycles of activity as well as we need to, because it is possible, I'm not trying to freak anybody out here, but the one thing we have to worry about is, could there be some kind of electromagnetic eruption from our star that causes a problem for us here on Earth? Now, fortunately, Earth has a magnetic field to protect us, but we've only known this star for 4.5 billion years. In fact, we've known it way shorter than that because humans have only had the capability to study stars in detail for maybe 200 years.
Wow.
Now, we've learned a lot in 200 years, but we haven't learned everything there is to know about stars in 200 years. Because if you look at some stars, like Betelgeuse, for example, about 3 years ago, Betelgeuse started doing some really, really weird behavior stuff where the light was changing at a really rapid rate, and they thought it was just about to go supernova. But it stopped. Some scientists said, oh, yeah, we know about this cycle. It happens about every 50 years, blah, 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 blah. Others said, I don't know, could be a problem. So we need to have Parker solar probes so we can understand our star better, so that we can think about what could possibly happen and better understand what we might be able to do to protect ourselves, which really includes one option, which is get off the planet.
Yeah.
Get off the planet.
Hey, I have a question about, I'm sorry to interrupt, Steve,
by all means.
about supernova. Do those happen, is that a slowly over time thing, or does it all of a sudden just kaboom one day?
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Supernovae happen because the amount of energy coming out of the core of the star begins to drop off, and the weight of the envelope of gases over the core crushes down onto the core, raises the temperature, and causes it to explode. But how quickly does it happen? Happens like that.
No kidding.
It suddenly collapses because
it collapses in on itself.
It collapses in on itself because the balance between the energy coming out and the weight of gases over top of the core suddenly shift. It's slowly working there. That's happening with our sun. It's slowly working there, but when it reaches that critical point where it shifts, boom! It happens in a second.
Would it be similar to a deep sea
Yes,
Implosion?
an implosion of a submarine. Yes, it's just like
wow.
that.
So there's a movie called Knowing, in which they depicted the end of that. And basically, what you described is the sun having one of those things that pierces our protective shell and does that. I want to ask you about this. This came out in the news just recently too. Breathtaking telescopic images released Monday by NASA show. And the pictures are amazing. 4-fingered, outstretched hands swirling around the Milky Way in purple plumes.
Yeah.
Is it Crab Nebula?
No, not the Crab Nebula.
Yeah.
This is a different one, a new one.
But it says, too, plumes of particles, energized matter, and antimatter that fluctuate in an intense wind 16,000 light years from Earth. So what is this? What do we...
So what we have in our inventory of images of the universe that we got primarily from some of the big telescopes before Hubble Space Telescope and then Hubble Space Telescope, James Webb is just starting to fill in some more of those.
Right.
Well, that's just like 1% of the objects that are out there that could be imaged. So now what you see happening is you get a telescope with the capability of James Webb, you can see so much more. So as astronomers are going haywire, shooting photographs of everything they can because they're like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And this stuff is all over the galaxy. So what we're starting to see is images of new nebulae we had never seen before or couldn't image well enough before.
Right.
Now we can. Now we're seeing them.
So
and
tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg.
Wow.
Totally tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and as the telescopes get better, we'll see still more of those.
Wow. It is amazing.
It's nuts.
So we're going to point you in the direction to learn more about these things that we've talked about and many other for the new exhibit that's opening up this Saturday, by the way.
It is this Saturday, yes. Yep, you got to come see it.
Everything's in place. It's been beta tested. It's all ready to go.
Oh, we've beat it up. It's all
right.
Good. It's all good.
And your podcast.
Yeah, Derek.
Yeah,
by the way, Derek, dude, the tone of your voice alone.
It's ASMR City.
Totally. It is. I have ASMR, and I'm just sitting here zoning out, listening. I'm hearing what you're saying, but it's very relaxing.
Fabulous.
Your tone, your demeanor, your pacing, all
Thank
of that.
you. I appreciate that.
But yes, your podcast is called The Curious Cosmos.
Curious
with Derrick
Cosmos,
Pitts.
right. Mm-hmm.
And you can dive into this in all a variety of topics for space exploration.
This is a group of my friends in the astronomy and space exploration industry talking about their love of it, why they're into it, and why other people should be into it, why we're all into it together. And it's everywhere from Chris Ferguson, who was the commander of the last space shuttle mission, to Hakeem Oluseyi, who is one of the most popular astronomy and science communicators on the planet these days. And we have Mary Roach, who's this fabulous author who writes all these great books. She's written one called Packing for Mars that explains all this stuff about what it would be like to travel to Mars and just everything in between. And we're all, these are all friends and colleagues of mine from all across the industry, just, chewing the fat about astronomy stuff.
Sounds terrific.
Cool astronomy stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, this Saturday is when Wondrous Space opens, and you can get tickets at fi.edu. Derek, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Derrick Pitts, ladies and gentlemen. Franklin Institute on the Preston and Steve Show. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in just a second, and Chris Tucker will be joining us when we return. Stay right there.
Thanks, food.
We definitely are. Maybe we can get into a cheesesteak discussion at some point.
There's a Goldberg Sayin to cheesesteaks. They always run that episode.
Yeah,
where they,
donkeys.
Donkeys.
Right?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
the whole big thing was that the best cheesesteak in the world is not in Pennsylvania.
And you know what? It was really good.
Really, really, really
I need to get
good.
back there.
I know.
I'll have to, when I have a cheat moment, I'll do that.
Well, and some people call no fare because it's not on the long roll. It's on a Kaiser.
Yeah.
Poppy C. Kaiser or whatever. I got no problems with that.
I don't care. I think it just tastes great. That's all there is to it.
If you
And
put
less
it in
filling.
if you put it in between white bread, it's still a cheesesteak.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Word.
All right. So I've got my
Yes, your
chef's hat on.
Your puffy chef's hat.
So we're going to start with this.
What is the technical name of that hat?
Chef's hat.
Chef's hat.
Is it literally just
I don't
chef's
know.
hat?
You got me. Because
Yeah.
there's a couple different ones. I think like sous chefs wear a different hat. And
Okay.
so there's a variety of different hats that are worn in certain restaurant situations. So it's called a toque, Steve.
All right, there we go.
So according to this, it says the chef's hat is officially called a toque.
That's Tokwe.
Which is Arabic for hat.
All right.
While the term has existed for a few thousand years, the French popularized the word when referring to a chef's hat, according to Culinary Anyone. That's a website, I guess. By the 1800s, that hat has become known as the toque blanche.
Oh, because it's white.
Or white hat. Yeah.
I know you're about to get going with something.
Connoisseur.
I don't think a cheesesteak in between white bread is still a cheesesteak.
It is.
All right. Maybe we can come back to this.
I stand corrected.
No, I mean, is it called a cheesesteak roll?
Yeah,
It's called cheesesteak.
I think you've bastardized the sandwich by putting in between white bread.
Okay.
If we're going to come back to cheesesteak,
You talking about
later.
sandwich bread, just regular sandwich bread?
Yeah, I mean, what if you put a hamburger in between two pieces of white bread? Is it
I would
not a
consider it a
hamburger
hamburger.
anymore?
I will
It's that
accept.
you didn't have any rolls left and you had nothing else to use.
I will accept a Kaiser roll, but white bread, I think you are killing the very being of what a cheesesteak is.
It's still a cheesesteak. I'm not saying I'm not killing the being of it, but it's still a cheesesteak. If you put peanut butter and jelly on a hoagie roll, it's still a peanut butter
Wait a
and jelly
minute.
sandwich.
Would you then call it a steak sandwich? Because I don't see that as a steak sandwich. A steak sandwich I see on a roll.
I think if you put it on a bagel, it's no longer a cheesesteak. I think if you put it on white bread, like I'm thinking
The bread has that much sway over it, you think?
Yeah, I think you have ruined the
Well, then what
very
is it?
concept of a cheesesteak. I think it's like steak sandwich ingredients on white bread. I think
Do
it's
me a
no
favor.
longer a cheesesteak.
Put some documentation together and send it on over.
Let
I'll
me ask
review
you,
it.
you have a problem with cheesesteak egg rolls? It's still called cheesesteak.
It's not even remotely a cheesesteak.
It's still a cheesesteak. It's called
It's got cheesesteak ingredients.
Cheesesteak.
No, it's not.
It's a cheesesteak egg roll.
Don't call it a cheesesteak egg roll.
I'm
Then
yelling at
don't
him.
call
I'm
it
yelling at
a
him.
cheesesteak egg roll.
You think that's a cheesesteak sandwich because
It's got cheesesteak material in it.
It is not a cheesesteak sandwich. It has cheesesteak. What makes
Ingredients.
it has cheese steak, but it does not. It's not a
an egg roll.
cheesesteak. In the classic form, it's a cheesesteak egg roll. Cheesesteak egg roll.
I just want to point out to everyone, looking at Casey's body language, he's deadly serious about all this right now.
Well, it's
100%.
dumb.
And he's wrong.
It is a dumb conversation to have, and it's okay.
Okay.
It's a dumb. Listen, it's a cheesesteak. It's what is inside the roll that it's named after. It doesn't matter what you wrap it in. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. Like,
And cut Nick
Yeah.
some slack because he's had really loose bowel movements for the past day or
okay.
two. So.
He's not thinking right.
Yeah.
He's low on electrolytes.
Just had a visit down to the third floor.
Did you make a cheesesteak?
Well, no, but man, do they got a nice bathroom down there.
Sony has recruited Zachary Levi to star in Sony's live-action adaptation of the classic children's book Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Did you ever read that book, or do your kids?
I don't remember
Yeah.
it. I know the title,
So do I.
but I don't remember what it's about.
It was a staple in our household when Ben was 3 and 4 years old.
Okay. And I love Zachary Levi, man.
He's great.
He seems like a guy I want to know.
We could absolutely hang with him. At least it seems that way.
Yeah.
I loved him in the show Chuck.
The story, published in 1955 and written by Crockett Johnson, tells the story of a 4-year-old who created worlds around him with his crayon.
he is the voice of Flynn Rider, correct?
He is.
Yeah.
Which is a far superior movie, Tangled, than Frozen.
Yeah, I know you're a big proponent of that.
Casey's opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I texted you guys about Flynn Rider last night.
I saw that, and by the way, I was looking at the cover of Herpel and the Perilled Crayon.
And the hairy donut. Herpel and the hairy donut.
Hey, I know someone named Christine Herpel, by the way.
We do.
We do. She's working at NBC.
Not her first name, but
Herpel. It's not. It's Meeston Moidy.
Purple.
Herpel.
I love Purple. I mean,
I'll let you guys laugh it out, and then I'll.
it's hard. It's hard when it happens.
funny.
So it's just there. And you got to get
all right.
past it.
So anyway, yes, Nick had texted over something about the fact that the people have voted that Flynn Rider is the sexiest Disney character ever. According to who?
This guy, Kevin Sparrow, did a Twitter poll.
he's
Oh, he did a Twitter poll.
Yeah.
Nipple piercing.
Yeah.
Not piercing in general. Never has appeared to me. Appealed to me. I've never had a pierced
Does
ear,
Pierre have
nothing, nose.
Pierre has both nipples pierced, right?
Does he
I think he does, yeah.
Ooh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have 5 in my ears.
Do you really still?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
nipples?
I got 5 nipples. I got 3 nipples in the left ear and 2 nipples in the right ear.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I can stick earrings through them right now if I wanted to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It didn't look right. I tried. I was in alt radio and You know, and every time I looked in the mirror, I'm like, I don't look like an earring guy. Yeah.
I had my nipple pierced.
No, shut up.
Are you kidding? Miss Needle Phobic?
How long have we known you? We never.
Birthday, Preston!
Thank you. It's my birthday present from Kathy Romano.
Birthday miracle!
Revealed that she had her nipple pierced.
I still don't believe
smiling. She was smiling when I brought this up. She looked at me holding up her hand, meaning I have something to say, and you had this bizarre look on your face.
Wow.
Oh my
Look
God.
at Steve.
Steve
Is so
can't even
perplexed.
speak.
No,
Steve doesn't know what to
this
do.
makes sense, though, because sometimes
does.
I'll see Kathy walking around, and she'll have a kettlebell suspended from her crotch. And I'm like, what's that?
Okay, so
What's that attached to? And she has another piercing.
let's unpack this here for a moment.
Okay,
Okay,
all
so
right. I can explain.
number one, you're deathly afraid of needles,
Yes.
anything that has to do with that. Number two, you're so pristine when it comes to anything that
She has a perfect vagina.
to do. Well, but by pristine, I mean
No
what's
tattoos,
yeah,
Unblemished.
and also no touching any even remotely
Yucky
sexual areas, naughty areas of the
Naughty.
body.
Well, he's been scarred by your mother.
Let me sit down here.
I know.
Okay, sit down and I'll
Okay,
tell you the
'cause I wanna
story.
hear
There's got to
Casey,
be a catch
Casey,
here.
fan him. Fan him.
Please.
There's a catch here. There's got to be a catch.
All right. How long ago?
Okay, so
Last week.
no, let me think about this. Okay, I think it was college. Yeah, I was in college.
It had to be.
Somebody had to have been kidnapped, and like this was the only way to get them released.
Well, I was trying to think if it was after college, but it wasn't.
Like a spring break thing?
No, so it was in college. I had a very good friend from high school, turned stripper, she was getting things pierced.
Okay.
And so and by the way, she hid from me that she was a stripper for a long time. So I didn't know she was a stripper, but she was. Anyway, so she was going to get something pierced. Now, I grew up, my mom always taught me, do not get a tattoo. In 10 years, you're not going to like it. You're going to pick something today and you're never going to like it. And so that stuck with me. What she was okay with, now I don't think she knew I got my nipple pierced, but what she was okay with was piercings because you could always take them out.
Right.
They grow back, yeah.
Yeah, so I had piercings all the way up my ear, the cartilage, all of that.
Yeah.
I had my belly button pierced. And
I didn't know that either.
so at this point, then there was like, well, what else do I get pierced? My friend was going to get a piercing. I forget which. She was getting her nose done. I didn't want to get my nose done because I have terrible allergies. I'm like, that thing's gonna go flying when I blow my nose. So we were just there, and she was like, just do it, just do it. So she basically convinced me, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Was it a dude who did it?
It was a guy who did it. We went to like a place we were in New Hope, so it was like a piercing place. It wasn't like some corner store. I felt comfortable. It was very like doctor-esque.
Right.
The room was set up. So I did it. I got my nipple pierced.
You were drinking beers?
Listen. It was terrible. It was an awful, awful experience. My body rejected it.
Oh.
It never healed ever. It was like a massive infection.
Wow.
And my boyfriend at the time was he was finally like, what are you doing? Just take it out. It's not gonna, because I thought I went through all of this.
Yeah.
Like I had a needle go through my nipple. Like, help me here. So I didn't want to take it out because I went through all of that. It was terrible. It was terrible pain when he did it. Afterwards, it was awful. So I did not have it very long, and I ended up taking it out.
Was the intention to get both of them done initially, and then you stopped after one? No,
Just
you just want to
one?
get
I was
one.
just
Okay.
getting one.
You seem more like a completist.
See what
Was it
happened.
A stud,
It was a ring.
It was a ring?
Yeah.
Ring.
Okay.
It was a ring. You
All
had,
right.
but I mean, it was terrible. It was so bad. It was so infected. I had to put like a gauze pad in my bra because it was infected. And no, it was disgusting. It was awful. Yeah.
So that's horrible. That's disgusting.
Awful.
I have to imagine, did you at least become woozy during any of these piercings when you're as needle phobic as you are?
So the thing with needles and me is if I can't look at it. That's every time I have passed out because of it, I watched it. So I watched Jace getting stitches. I watched the needle go through his chin.
Right.
I saw the skin pull, and I was like, that was it. I was out. So each time I was watching it. So this obviously I didn't watch. I closed my eyes, turned my head, held my stripper friend's hand
Held
and
your nipple out.
put my nipple out, and there we go.
That was it.
And do you have scarring to this day from
So
it?
yes, there's like a tiny. You wouldn't know. Here, I'll show you. Come here.
Come on. Let us decide.
So
we'll try to pick the one out.
When
You wouldn't know. It is a tiny little like spot. Yes, I can see it. It's on one side, but if you guys were sucking on my nipples, you would never know.
If we're sucking on your
Well, leave it to Kathy to make a story like that unsexy.
Wow. So I don't know. It was pretty sexy.
It started off sexy, and then the infection and the gauze.
Yes.
How many days or weeks did it last?
It was in a couple of weeks. Like I said, I tried. I went back to the guy. He was like, here, gave me, cleaning and this and that and whatever. And it just like literally my body was rejecting it.
Is that why your nipple whistles now and then?
Every once in a while.
Did your mom find out about this right now as well?
Probably. Yeah, I think she probably found out
She's
now.
on the roof ready to swan dive into the parking lot.
So how long total do you think you actually had it in?
Nick, probably maybe a month or something, and it just was not getting better.
And always painful all the time.
It was so painful the entire time. It never healed. It was always painful.
Did removing it hurt, or was it
yes.
really? Oh, really?
No, hurt. And I remember too. I was in the bathroom at my boyfriend's house in college. It
hurt so bad.
Like college bathrooms was disgusting. It was so gross. And I was up there with my friend, and she was like, "That's it. We're taking it out." And we just, because remember the old piercer, or what they used to use. I don't know what they use now, but it had little balls on the end, so you had to screw the ball off so that you could take the hoop off.
Yep.
So it was like the whole thing was just painful. It was awful.
Oh my God. All right. So the actual act of having it pierced, because I couldn't do it. It just seems like it would be so painful.
It was awful. WMMR.
All right, thanks, Kat. So Chris Tucker should be joining us any moment now. He's got a gig coming up. Actually, it's in New York. It's at the Beacon Theater.
Yeah.
And he's promoting that. So Casey was in town not that long ago.
Yeah, I believe he did the Met on the 17th or 18th of this month.
Yep.
So hop, skip, and a jump up to New York, and I'm sure he's hoping to sell some tickets down here.
Yep. So it looks like Marissa might be talking to him now, so we'll pop him on in just a second. But just a reminder, we have a secret text where we have a chance to see Mark Maron, who's going to be in town May 3rd. Those tickets go on sale Friday, so text word secret to 39333 for your chance win. And sure enough, he is right on time. Hey! And we love it. We had the opportunity several years ago for him to be here in the studio. Just the nicest guy.
Great.
Really great conversation with him. And we're excited that he's joining us again today. The show at the Beacon Theater in New York, actually, there's a couple of them, November 17th and 18th, and tickets are available at Live Nation. Please welcome Mr. Chris Tucker to our show. Good morning, Chris.
Steve, how you doing? Good morning.
We're good, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Anytime at all. So we were just talking off air. You were in Philly not that long ago. How was your experience in town?
Man, it was great. Every time I go to Philly, they always come out. It was a great show, a lot of fun. I walked around the city and went down to the Liberty Bell and had a lot of fun. And because I filmed a Silver Linings Playbook in Philly, so I know Philly pretty well because I walked around a lot. Waiting to film all the time. I did that with Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lopez. So that's one of my favorite cities. So, and the show was great. People came out. It was a good time.
Well, everyone is thrilled that you're, back to stand-up. It's where you started. But I got to say, I never really feel like Chris Tucker is out of my life because the meme of you and Ice Cube from Friday, that damn, is everywhere. Are you blown away by how much that one clip is used in social media, online, in memes? It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, what a character, what might come out of a character or a movie, man. And it's a lot of fun to see it. People dressing up on Halloween as me and Ice Cube in the movie, character in Fridays and all that stuff. So it's a cultural thing, which is a blessing, man. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, did you see Lonzo Ball and Leandro Ball? They dressed up like you and Ice for Halloween this past year. Did you see that?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I happened to see that, man. I was strolling through Instagram and saw it, and I thought that was real cool. That was really cool.
So Chris, you started going back to Def Comedy Jam, Russell Simmons, and stand-up has always been at the core of what you do. that led obviously into the movies and just back recently you were in Air, and that's a significant part of your history. But are there a lot of people? Are there people who are unfamiliar with the fact that you come from stand-up?
That might be because my movie career took off so fast.
Yeah.
And, I got a little role in House Party, and then I co-starred in Fridays with Ice Cube, and then that just kind of took over. Then, of course, Money Talks and Dead Presidents and Rush Hour and all, and Fifth Element. So people know me a lot as an actor, but I started out as a stand-up comic, and that's what got me to the acting. So I love when they come to my show, and it was very few, but they discovered that I came from the stand-up world.
Yeah, and I remember I first saw you doing stand-up, and I thought, okay, this guy's clearly going to break because he's solid. But the thing I think is interesting too, and you're sort of committed. You don't get personal. You're not an attack comedian. You keep stuff positive, and yet you still manage to remain cutting edge. Is it hard to do all that at once?
You know what? I grew up watching Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, and Richard Pryor, mainly talked about, his life and things that happen and stuff in the world too. So I kind of go. That's kind of like my comedy too. But no, it's not hard. It's just it's who I am. It's who I became. As a young man doing stand up, and then as a man doing stand up. So it's not hard at all. It's just working it and continue to figuring out what I want to say to my audience.
Right.
How long before when you first started, Chris? Because everybody's got to go through a learning phase when they get on the stage. How long did it take you to find your footing and go, okay, this is my lane and I'm going to stay in it?
Not long. I started out as an amateur in the comedy clubs, and then became a regular, then a headliner. So, I was just in the clubs and engulfed in it and watched a lot of great comics come through town, in Atlanta, where I'm from, Decatur, Georgia. And I just grew and soaked it all in. So it didn't take me long, 2 years. I was on Jeff's Comedy Jam in 2 years. And I moved to L.A. in 1992. And then I was starring in movies in 1993, 94. I was filming Fridays, and it came out in 95.
That's great.
The Dead Presidents is 28th year anniversary of Dead President.
Wow.
And 25th anniversary of the first Rush Hour. So it's awesome.
It's amazing. So there's a couple of questions. Listen, The Fifth Element was just on. Your character, Ruby, wrote in that. That is such a pyrotechnic, unbelievable performance because you are delivering rapid fire lines, mood changes within a second, and you're hilarious. I can't imagine anyone else doing that role. But is it true that they originally approached Prince for that role?
They did. Prince told me, and then also Luc Besson, the director told me. But Prince told me in a club in L.A., and his security called me over and said, hey, Prince wanted to see you. And I went over there, and he saw me. He said, man, you did a great job in that movie, Fifth Element. They offered me that role, and they wanted me to wear these clothes. I said, what happened? He said, I didn't want to wear those clothes. And right now, Prince, he said, but this is my design.
There's a scene at the end of that where you just, you have a complete, meltdown, and it's one of the funniest 15, 20 seconds of film, and you are, I'm sensing that the actors around you, one of course, being the great Bruce Willis, is about to break, but did you bust them up on the set with your character?
Oh yeah, I was out there, this space DJ, and that's what Luc Besson wanted. And he had the energy, he wanted all that, and then, Bruce would come to the set and he would laugh and all that stuff, and we had so much fun, man, so much fun playing it, and it made me dig really deep, and it was a lot of fun. It was in London. We filmed at the Pinewood, the famous Pinewood Studios in London, where they did all the James Bond movies. So it was a fun time.
It's a great movie. You mentioned Rush Hour, and of course the rumors are floating around like crazy of a fourth one. And the word is you would absolutely be on board with that. What is the status right now? Obviously, there's a strike and everything.
Yeah, definitely. definitely, the strike is going on. But it seemed like I heard from the studio that they want to do it now. The studio, because that's what always holds stuff up. They own the movie pretty much. And Jackie and me, Jackie Chan, he wants to do the movie. I want to do it, so we'll do it. We want to do another one, so we'll see what happens.
So you've been in close proximity to Jackie Chan, who really should have been killed 50,000 times in his career. I mean, he's just a legend. Was there any moment in particular, any stunt or anything you saw him do that just defined or just blew you away that he walked away alive?
You know what? Well, I didn't see anything like that, but I heard when they were filming in Hong Kong that he almost died, and I'm like, whoa, I'm glad he didn't, But he was pushing those big freights together, and they said, he almost died. I said, what? So thank God he didn't, because we wouldn't have finished the movie and made it. But I was amazed at how he choreographed the fight scenes with me, because I didn't know anything, no martial arts, nothing like that. I was in great shape, but he got his team together. He swung me around and kicked me and made me look like a martial artist. So that was the fun part with me, because I was really nervous about that. But he was such a genius on how they choreographed stuff, him and his team. It was awesome.
I tell you, though, you talk about your acting chops. You are a good, really solid dramatic actor. You talked about Silver Linings Playbook, and obviously in Air. And did you feel you had a natural inclination? They always say that comedians, like people who are comedically adept, like Jack Lemmon or throughout history, have that chop, that are usually turn out to be really good actors. Did you feel you had that within you for the more dramatic stuff, or was it a nerve-wracking thing to take on those roles?
It kind of came natural. I had to think about it, because coming from stand-up can be broad. You're on stage, you can do whatever you want to do. But in acting, you got to tone it down a little bit, and different scenes of different emotions and highs and lows. So I had to think it out. And once I thought it out, and I knew that it was different from stand-up, I couldn't do stand-up acting. I figured it out. I just thought it out, and thank God I figured it out early. And every role I approach, I know it's different, and I may have to approach it differently and pull from different places. So I just figured it out, thank God. It came natural to me.
Well, and you've worked alongside some of the absolute greatest, not just, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in Air, but I mean, Robert De Niro, for crying out loud. So I would imagine your ability to not let the superstardom or the acting abilities of your coworkers distract you at all. It must be fairly seamless for you to just kind of, even roll in with a legend and work the scenes.
It's a lot of fun. I did, and Viola Davis was in the movie Air, and man, I was intimidated. I got to tell you, I'm asking her questions before we start filming, and she's looking at me like, Chris, what are you talking about? I'm such a big fan of hers, and of course, Mr. Robert Downey. I'm not Robert Downey, but
De Niro.
Mr. De Niro. All those guys, but it's great because it brings the best out of me when you're working with pros, because you don't have to work that hard, so it's great.
So everyone who's done, stand up and comes from that initial page, or in their resume, and gets into acting and all that other stuff. No matter who we have through or any guests that we have, they always say that the thing they enjoy the most is the purity of the stand-up dynamic. Does that hold true for you, Chris?
Oh yeah. Oh man. Stand-up is nothing like it, because it's live, it's in the moment. A lot of it becomes the show. It's always evolving, always, my show at least, it's always some stuff that happens in the moment and something that I come up with on stage, and it just keeps it going. Of course, I'm always prepared with my show, but it always takes a life of its own, and that's the great thing about, live. And, the Beacon Theater, we sold out one show on the 17th, and now we had on another show on the 18th. So I'm just happy and excited to be in NYC, the greatest city in the world.
Second greatest.
After Philly.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, Philly. That's right.
I was like, wait a minute.
No, but we get you. And the reviews and everything, everyone's just saying you're just destroying. So it's a great opportunity. It's just a quick trip north, and people can catch you at the Beacon. So we're very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be on November 18th. So I didn't know the 17th was sold out. So there you go. Get your tickets now at livenation.com if you want to see Chris Tucker at the Beacon Theater. Man, it's great to catch up with you, Chris. We wish you nothing but the best, and hopefully we'll see you back here sometime soon, okay?
Same here. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Chris Tucker, he's great.
Good dude.
He's great. Super nice. He's looking really good, too. He was, I saw Air, I don't know, about a couple of months ago. That was a great movie. It was really well done. And he was, like you said, he pulls off the dramatic thing very seamlessly.
Yeah.
For a guy who can be, really funny.
When he came in here, it was at a time when they were boasting about salaries that they were paying to certain, like, we paid this person, so for Rush Hour and all that stuff, they made, we're paying him this.
Yeah.
Which kind of put a target on anybody's back that they did that for. Like, well, are you worth this? Are you worth this? And he was having to deal with that. And so we didn't know what we were going to get because we heard things. And as we said before, he couldn't have been nicer when he came in.
Yep, absolutely. So it was cool to catch up with him. Let's see. We still have some time, right?
Yeah, I got a little bit of time.
A little bit of time. I was going to see if we can chat about
time. Time basically is on our side.
Can I ask you guys something? Because I just saw this.
Yeah, please.
I just saw this story, and I don't. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The maintenance people were working on the soap dispensers.
Shut up,
Oh,
yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. I meant to tell you when I got back into the studio, but Derrick Pitts was here, and then Chris Tucker came on.
Wait,
and
they told you, or you went in and saw them?
But down the hall, closer to the Fanatic, Casey, and they were both being inspected, and then they went into the women's bathroom. I made sure that
it must have been the ghost of George Tishman.
George Tishman himself made a call from the great beyond and made this happen.
You're welcome.
There you go.
You're welcome, One Bala.
Sorry to cut you off.
Now, what do you have that's pending?
I just don't know if I believe this to be true. This is really fun. And listen,
right.
it involves the NFL, which is not sexy to some people, but this is interesting. I don't know if this is true. I was doing a little bit of research. So anyway, there was a coach who was fired yesterday. And Josh McDaniels, he coached for the Raiders.
Right.
They got their asses handed to them the other night. And apparently McDaniels, who's well-known around the league circles as a guy who goes all out for Halloween, came to the Raiders facility dressed as Mark Davis the day after losing to the Lions on Monday Night Football. Mark Davis is the owner of the Raiders. Davis seemed to take it all in stride at first. He appeared to laugh and even ordered his now trademark P.F. Chang's lunch delivered to Coach McDaniels to complete the look. And then after the two had eaten, Davis suggested McDaniels read his fortune cookie, which then read, "You're fired, hotshot."
He put a firing note in a fortune cookie?
That can't be true, right?
That's brutal. If it is true.
I mean, I don't feel bad for the guy because he's got 4 more years on a contract that they're going to pay him regardless. But to get fired through a fortune cookie,
you can't use desserts to fire someone.
That's like ruining the dessert.
It's just not right. Like, listen.
No, but
I got a bad X-ray delivered to me in a donut.
It may be saying you're fired, but have this cookie as a thank you for all of your years of service.
Here's your fortune. You're fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Your year and
I
a
don't
half
know.
of service.
I have to believe that's not true. I would think
it would be
that
too callous.
I would think that would also be crossing some protocols that one probably has to go through in an NFL establishment.
Yeah.
That would, I would imagine has their eyes on legally how they should handle things.
All right.
I don't know.
I know that, what do they call that? Like you're on,
Love Boat?
No. No.
That's what I default to. What are you on? The Love Boat.
There has to be some protocol when you
delivering messages in a cookie.
Terminate somebody's employment.
Yes, that you can't go. Yes, there you go. That would be probably be against protocol. However, he is the owner, correct?
He owns the place, right?
So that might give him a little latitude.
You could just walk in and be like, "You're fired, nerd."
Yeah.
And then
you don't have to say the nerd part.
It's just mean.
Say whatever they want.
Yeah,
nerd.
Well, that's the nerd out of the fortune cookie.
Well, because they said you're fired first, you can say whatever you want, right? Because I can call you a nerd because you're no longer an employee.
You're just rubbing salt in your fortune cookie.
Yeah, you're fired, and now that you no longer work here, you're a nerd too.
Well, that seemed unnecessary.
Did you guys see that Sue Serio's brother is a photographer for the NFL?
I did.
And he dressed up for the Broncos-Chiefs game, and he was Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And he looked so much like him that people were asking to take photos with him.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he looked great.
Okay. No, I did not see that. So the reason you brought this up, you want to know if this is legit or not.
Yeah. A, is it legit?
Okay.
And B,
where do fortune cookies come from?
where do fortune cookies come from?
They're not
That's all I
Chinese,
wanna-
right? Like they were invented in the US.
I think they were invented in
San Francisco or
San
something?
Francisco, yeah.
Right.
All that stuff that we think is, like the dance troupe, that comes to the area, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, Shenyun.
And I go and I'm like, these are like
traditional.
By the way, the show is fantastic. I loved it. But we're there and I'm like, they fly in from, I'm sure, the Forbidden City. And they're out of New York.
Oh, okay. Wait, Marissa wants to jump in on the NFL fortune cookie
Well,
story. I
Casey,
think.
it reminded me of a story I read in the Inquirer yesterday, where Steakums, the company, the local company, they just put out a video. It's like 4 minutes long of vegans.
Yes.
Sitting in a room talking about how much they love being vegan, how it's part of their life. They identify as that. And then they used AI to make all of these vegans look like they were eating cheesesteaks and talk
While they
about,
were talking about
how they can't imagine not having meat in their life now.
They
and
used
all of
deep
this.
fake.
Yeah, deep fake. And then
so for the voice and everything.
Oh my
yes,
god!
and then the end of the video, they show it to the people, and they're like, "That's not me. What is it?" And they're actually putting it out as a warning that like things on the internet are not real.
Okay.
And there's actually
Listen.
They're
right.
not?
Oh.
In cases of any sort of AI technology, I think you got to turn to Steakums to figure out what's going on technologically.
I'm a little terrified by all this.
Yeah.
Well, as well you should
not
be.
Not to get deep on it, but
See what they did to the butchers of Bakerfield. You're right.
I will not fire on unarmed citizens.
Yeah.
I know women and children. To hell with you.
Come on, do it.
To hell with you.
But
I didn't kill those people.
The butcher of Bakersfield.
I get air sick in helicopters.
We're at Running Man level, man.
yeah.
Soon we're going to be wearing brightly colored jumpsuits and running through alleyways.
I would hope so.
But you know what? So, all right. So I was talking to my daughter's history teacher about this.
Maria
because
Conchita Alonso.
You think about how easy it is to dispel or dispense inaccurate information.
Yeah, like a fortune cookie firing.
But also how easy it is to find the accurate information. So, like, when I see something on Twitter, I'm like, that can't be real. And that's why I asked the question, because, like, I was looking for the truth there.
No, that's great.
Yes.
It's great. But the problem is a lot of people won't take that extra step that you have taken.
Right.
And then you, therefore, maybe want to do the job of trying to convince that person that what you actually read is incorrect. And at that point, they're too deep into it, and they're just not going to believe you.
It is
because they've solidified, they have taken their stance, and they're not going to believe it.
As the saying goes, it's easier to lie to someone than it is to convince them they've been lied to.
Okay. You guys see the movie News of the World with Tom Hanks?
Yes.
No.
It's a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
The way that news used to make it from town to town.
Yeah.
And when he would do the comics, it'd be great. So Marmaduke.
But it got me thinking, like, it was probably...
And the Lockhorns, why are they even married, right?
It was way easier to dispense inaccurate information back then. And how much of history that I know is actually
Well, they say,
true.
listen, again.
If I can't believe somebody got fired in a fortune cookie...
Yeah. What does that say about the
You know,
world?
there's a story that goes, Lincoln was sitting up in the box and got delivered a fortune cookie, and it said, you need this show like a hole in the head.
Oh, my God.
And then he was assassinated.
Wow.
Well, so the whole Steakums thing was actually about, I know, there is a Deep Fakes Accountability Act, and they're asking people to sign the petition. And in fact, earlier this week, the president signed an executive order to create tighter standards for AI security and privacy.
Marissa, that was not the president. He was eating a Steakum at the time.
By the way, going back to the fortune cookies on a completely different thing. We had bought for Parker's 21st birthday, we bought very offensive fortune cookies.
I love it.
And I mean, they really
profane.
went. Yeah,
Really?
it was
I love it.
hilarious.
Where'd you get them?
I just found them online. I don't remember where, but you can do a search on offensive fortune cookies.
By the way,
or dirty joke fortune cookies, and they're great.
Am I crazy for loving the taste of fortune? I love fortune cookies.
I find some of them really good. Like P.F. Chang's actually has good quality fortune cookies because we started. But some other places you eat it and it's like
it has like an orangey taste.
Some the good ones do.
Yeah.
Other ones have a glue taste.
Oh, see, these are not worth it to me. I could probably count. I probably had like 1 or 2 fortune cookies in my life. I'll crack it open and read what's inside.
I love fortune cookies with Chinese tea. I mean, I love the whole thing. It works very well. They go well together. My question is, if you were to taste a fortune cookie, are they baked in an oven or are they fried?
No, so the way they're made, it's essentially made on like a little hot plate. And it's a very thin. It almost looks like crepes.
Okay.
When they're making crepes. Okay.
Right.
And it's just a little circle.
Cut the crepe.
And maybe they cut them out into that circle shape. And while they're still warm is when they bend them into that shape.
My question
it's very
is,
easy to do. And then they cool off and then it stays in that shape.
I wonder what they would taste like warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what point do they put the fortune in the cookie?
At that moment that they're about to bend it. So the cookies, the circle is still warm.
Yeah.
And they essentially just place a piece of paper on there. And it's a very simple device.
It's very sexual.
That it just folds it up and it's in there. It's real easy. You can find. I'm sure. I may have seen it on. I don't think I saw it on how it's made.
There it is.
This is somebody making it at home though.
Yeah.
This is the BS version of it. But
liars.
But essentially, that's kind of how they do it.
But yeah, it just.
Oh.
You ever see The Simpsons where Homer's debating on whether or not he should have an affair, and the fortune that comes out is you will find new love, and then they run out of that one, and they go back into the kitchen, in the Chinese kitchen, they're like, oh, we run out of you will find a new love. Well, you better put in, you will stick with your wife from here on out.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so they're putting, they folded them, then they're putting them in cupcake trays. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is somebody making them at home, though. So
some moron.
Yeah, you need to see the industrial.
It's Baker Betty, and everyone knows she's
version when they're knocking out like thousands of them.
Yeah.
And that'll explain a little bit more on how your everyday fortune cookies are made.
Now I want just regular. Do they sell fortune, like a bag of fortune cookies?
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Yes.
yeah.
You see them in the supermarket?
Sell everything.
I'm gonna get like custom fortune cookies.
Like Preston did.
Yeah. Well, no, those are offensive ones. But
with people's names.
You get to pick
And
what the fortune.
You got a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
But wait, you want to include like you made up the fortune?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can go online and find that.
I don't know if I can trust the internet, Preston.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they've lied to you so far about everything.
Well, the president just gave out a great fortune cookie recipe, and that wasn't a deep fake.
I do. I don't care for the texture of the fortune cookie. I think it's a little too crunchy. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what an elitist would say.
Mm-hmm.
My question is where is the company? Because a separate company has to be printing the fortunes itself, right? Or
I don't know.
Is it all contained under one roof?
I do not know.
Is there a paper section and a cookie section?
What are you, a cop?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I'm not
Why?
really sure.
Why are you protecting them?
Yeah, I think you're probably right, Steve. They probably have a fortune division and a cookie division.
Cookie division?
Yeah.
So
fortune division? No, you want the cookie division.
I guess we're essentially watching a video in here on the Food Network. Is this how it's made? Is that
Yes, it has to be. And it's actually, to me, this is visual ASMR.
Oh yeah, but they could do a how it's made on the thing that makes how it's made, and then a thing on how that was made.
Yeah, you need to lay down.
I know. No, Casey, I will honestly think about that. I'll think about the product that's being made, and then I'll think about, well, the mold that they used to make that.
Who made that?
There has to be a machine that made that. And somebody had to make the machine that made the machine that made the mold.
Eventually, you get to the answers of the universe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And
the fortune
you end up
cookies.
with a duck.
But I honestly will think about that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen how molds are made? Like the various devices where they pound it down over like a rounded out column or to make a pot.
When I had metal shop in junior high, middle school as they call it now, we had
you hosted it with Ricky Ratman.
We had to we had a crucible and could fire. Molten, iron.
That's pretty cool.
And so we made those molds.
My school sucked.
Out of like this. It was made out of like some kind of earth, some kind of dirt or very compacted soil of types, and you would take essentially the item that you wanted to do, and you would put this stuff around it, lay it down, and then you'd have to take it out and then put it back on. And there was there were these two holes, one where you would pour in the molten iron, and then a hole where it would come up out of there, and you would let it cool off and break it open again. It was really pretty fascinating.
I do love stuff like that. You know what I find, if you want to talk about visual ASMR, and there's a whole bunch of videos of the guys who are painting the stop sign on the pavement, or walkways, or words that are spelled out on streets.
Yeah.
And I always thought there was some sort of, it turns out most of them are manually done.
Right. Yeah. It's not necessarily a giant stencil.
Right. We're up on the screen here, Kathy, this kind of thing. Have you seen this?
No.
So
yeah, instead of using a giant stencil, they actually kind of freehand some of it.
Isn't that pretty wild?
The team that did the lines on Belmont Avenue heading back towards the Schuylkill didn't do a very good job.
Wait, what happened?
Really?
Yeah. Next, when you're driving home today, Kathy and Preston, when you go down Belmont towards where the Wawa is, they started and then stopped and then started again, and they shifted in the wrong direction.
Let's go out for a beer.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they were doing, they didn't do it right.
You know what,
Nick, during lunch, we'll get a couple of beers.
Nick, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I wonder if...
Past the llama.
Past the llama, right, exactly. Which, by the way, my little guy's still there.
I know. I see him every morning.
But Nick, I wonder if they're not done construction yet, and maybe they're not the official lines.
All right. I have a question for you two, because you take the same way I do home. You guys, this may not apply to, I don't know, but for the select people that drive down Belmont towards the Schuylkill Expressway from Bala Cynwyd, when are they going to create 2 lanes on the right hand? Because everybody doubles up,
and if you don't, you get honked at.
Yes, it goes double too wide in a single lane there's a turn lane that you have to hit, and it's a kind of a local rule.
Run that by me again.
If you know about it, then you ride 2. So when you come, sorry to do this.
What are we getting off here?
So when you're going to go into Manayunk or make a left to get on the Schuylkill Expressway, okay, from Belmont.
Yeah.
There's a left-hand turn only lane after you go under the overpass
to get onto the Schuylkill, going west.
Oh
yes, I know what you're talking about.
Everybody for about a quarter mile.
Yeah. Preston, it starts at the Wawa.
I know. We'll double up in a single lane. You will sit two abreast in one lane.
One lane.
And there are a lot of people who may not be local to the area and don't know that. And they'll be like, why are people doing this? This is only one lane here, but we all locals know that you need to get in the turn lane, you need to do that.
And then you'll also get honked at if you do double up and you get in that second lane. There is a portion where it narrows just a little bit after
right in front of that little garage.
Right after the gas station, in front of the garage. And sometimes if there's oncoming traffic, then they honk at you.
Right. And if you were in the left, quote unquote, lane as you're working your way towards Manayunk and the Schuylkill Expressway, you then, if you stay in the left lane, you have to go left. You're supposed to go left
the Schuylkill
to get onto the Schuylkill, right?
Yep.
But people, Steve, don't realize this. Yep. So sometimes they think they're going into Manayunk.
I've been caught in that. Yeah.
Right. Going back over the river, and they stay in the left lane accidentally, and then they're screwed.
So I blame this on not. It happens where when these roads were designed.
Yes.
Especially in Manayunk and in this area now where they've jammed in apartment complexes in every square inch that will accept one. So now you have a massive amount of rush hour traffic, leaving and returning to those areas. So they're just poorly designed, poorly planned at this point.
And also poorly lined. Because
poorly lined.
Yes. And
you drunken line people.
Well, when you drive down today, Preston, take a look at the lines and see if you know what I'm talking about.
I will. Okay. I hadn't paid attention. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. All right. Well, anyhow, sorry. I didn't mean to really narrow down the focus on this conversation.
We need one of the linemen for the county.
We do. Are they still on the line?
They're still on the line.
Wow. But anyhow, we started with...
Did that guy get fired?
Did that guy get fired? Which we never found out.
No.
Right? If it was...
And the Wichita lineman is still on the line.
May the Schwartz be with you.
We could have made it so much better.
All right, we should take a break. I think I've had enough.
Yeah,
we'll come back with a more focused segment called The Bizarre File.
You have high standards for us.
When we return, stay with us.
What did they use, like ice? Or
People who say like, oh no, it wasn't that bad. No, it was bad.
It's one of the more sensitive spots on your body.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So sensitive.
Well, and listen, here's the thing. Oh God, here's more info.
My vaginal piercing.
No, I never did that. But I don't have very. Well, I can't believe I'm saying. I don't have very sensitive nipples, so I thought, oh, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not. Like the girls who are super sensitive and are always nipping through their shirts.
I've got tough as leather nipples.
Yeah, not so much.
So
not
when it was happening, did they get like browner or pinker or?
I hate you.
Somebody says call the guy in New Hope. He'll be able to answer the question.
But I will say, they would take pictures of all of their piercings, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" I was like, you cannot have a picture of my boob.
I am floored right now.
I am too, man.
So floored.
Well, we all remember Marissa's tongue piercing.
Yeah.
Remember when she removed that manually at home?
I used to have the audio.
With the audio of that getting clipped off. Now that. When you initially got that piercing done, Marissa, how could that not hurt?
Because I was on spring break and it didn't matter. No,
All right.
But did I ever tell you guys a story about when I came home and my mom saw it?
No.
So it was Easter dinner. At first, I should say, as soon as I sat up, as soon as I got a pierce, I sat up and I went, ugh. My mom's gonna know I feel my tongue pierced because my tongue just swelled up and I couldn't eat for a few days. So it was Easter dinner. We're all sitting around the table, like an Italian table. So like, we're talking and laughing like 2 hours after dinner. And at one point, I just opened my mouth really wide to laugh at something, and the whole table's laughing, and my mom just stops.
Oh, daggers!
And she goes, "What's that?" And the entire rest of the table starts cracking up laughing because they have saw it hours ago. My mom was probably cooking dinner and she didn't notice. So my mom collects herself for a minute and she goes, "Oh, okay, all right," and starts laughing with it. And then she goes, "Well, at least I knew about the other one." And everybody laughs more. My dad goes, "Wait, what other one?"
Before I do my intro,
okay,
can you hear me, Amy?
Yeah.
Hey, she's here. Amy.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
All right, well, no, it's all right. I like to always to do a nice big intro, so let me do that now. Ladies and gentlemen, from Evanescence, it's Amy.
Hi, guys. What a nice intro.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, are you kidding me? It's great. Listen, we had just played Better Without You. Leading right into this, and of course, it's on the album, The Bitter Truth, which is finally out. And I wanted to ask you about that because you were talking about this album. I mean, was it done already, like in 2019? I mean, in the can and ready to go or close to it?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
We really wrote most of it last year. Yeah, during everything.
All right, then I had read that you had asked, you wanted people to hear it at that point, so I read something incorrect. Oddly enough, there was some misinformation that I found on the web.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, we started it a while back. We'd been working in bits and pieces through 2019 in between tours. We just sort of started putting time aside when we were all together. We live all over the world. All over the country, and now we have a member who lives in Germany, Jen, who we've been away from since before the pandemic. She's been with us remotely on this thing since the first 4 songs, but we made it happen. We really did.
It's such a
hallelujah.
No, it's very cool, and honestly, the entire world has gone through a maelstrom of stuff. Obviously with the COVID and all that stuff. And then you guys have also, all of you at some level, been dealing with personal crises. And, here you are at this end of it, releasing music into the world, connecting with people and what you love doing. Is there just a big sigh of relief now that it's out there? I can't imagine what that process is like and what you're currently experiencing.
It feels so good. Yeah. It really does. And for us, it's not something we do every other year. It's something that is, it comes out when it happens, when the inspiration hits and the time is right and everything lines up and we know what we want to do. So more than ever, it feels like a very special occasion for us. And, you know, like you said, having so much to get off of our chest personally and just feeling connected, you know, with the rest of the world in this time of the last couple of years, just strain and loss and frustration. It feels so good to be in a rock band.
Yeah.
Pour all that out into the music. I can't tell you how good it feels. And now, you know, I'm such a, I don't know, detail critic, always hearing all the little things I want to chip away and change. To finally have it done and not be listening to that anymore and just to listen in my car and enjoy it, it feels really, really good.
Okay, I wanted to ask about that in particular. So, and I would imagine all artists, musicians, maybe not all, but some go through this where you have this final product, you're very proud of it. It's sat for a little while, it's sunken in. Do you go back and go, man, I wish we would have done that. I wish I would have added this harmony. I wish I would have tweaked this and that. Are you okay with, or is that just natural?
That hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
I don't think that about the new stuff. It's funny. I'm hearing so many little things when there's still the chance to change it. I'm hearing this and that and this and I don't know and maybe this and one more of this and we need more background vocals and all that. But then once it's done, finally stepping away, I'm like, I don't even remember all the details I was honing in on anymore. It just sounds great.
Yeah, you know what, and that's why I would be a lousy producer or anything in that position because you constantly want to be changing and tweaking and doing this and that. You had Nick Raskuletis as your producer, one of the best rock guy that there is to it. And,
yes.
And does he tell me about your working with him and what that experience is like?
He's the best. He's incredible. And that's part of what makes that happen. He's very much in on the details like I am. We work really well together. We don't always have the exact same idea. It's good to have somebody who has different ideas and goes, hey, you know, maybe you should try this one other thing. But really, it's so good to have somebody that you really trust who can say, you know, when you're like, what's better, A or B? Like right. This take or that one, or like for me to go up here or go down here. Somebody who's just like a good sounding board of like, dude, it sounds great when you do it, when you go up. Let's go for that.
That's, you got to have that. All right. I also wanted to ask, you know, Steve had mentioned the fact that there's a lot of there's a lot of message you're getting across with this music. There's a lot of things happening. You mentioned a lot of tragedy. There's some good things too, but I wanted to ask you on a personal note. When I will sometimes listen to songs for years and have no idea what the artist was the message that they were trying to get through in this song. Now, I may love the melody and the harmonies and the rhythm and all that stuff, and I like the song, but don't really know what it's about.
Sure.
How do you feel about that? When you've poured emotion, you've written these lyrics, you're getting across a very specific theme that you want, and people don't get it. Is that okay?
It's totally okay.
Okay.
Honestly, I write in a way that is very cathartic for me. And in some of these songs, I hear what I'm saying, and I'm like, there's no way anybody can hear this other than exactly what I mean. But there is. And something that's really beautiful about art and music is when people can take it and apply it to their own life or their own particular personal experience, what they're going through, and let it be that for them. I think that's a beautiful thing. And it's funny because I want to break down and explain as much as I can about our lyrics, kind of, but there's another part of me that doesn't, because it's sort of better when you see what it turns into for somebody else. It's kind of more powerful that way. I've had songs that totally moved me, and I didn't know that they were about something for many, many years. I was like, oh, that's what that was about?
Yeah. But therein lies the beauty of the subjective nature of music. But there's something, and I wonder if you agree with this, and I think it might in some way speak to why vinyl has become more popular again. Having album cover art and having an artist, I used to use, when I would listen to music and listen to an album, an actual record, I would look at the art, and a lot of times you had additional messages being conveyed through that.
Yes.
Is that something you remember fondly? And yeah, that's a cool thing, right? We don't have that anymore, really. Yeah.
That's always. Yeah, we do. I do that.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's what's so cool is you can have there are so many different ways to express yourself, and to make an image kind of have a deeper impact. That's why music videos are so cool, dude. We actually just filmed our Better Without You video. It's going to be so cool. In Minneapolis, actually, we road tripped it. I drove 13 hours in a car with Troy and my girl Beth.
Wow.
It was really fun. Got cheese curds and everything. Anyway, when you can take, something and go, okay, here's a visual also that sort of feels like the world that this is living in. I don't know. That is a huge part of it, whether it's album artwork or whatever.
Yeah.
And we do that. We almost always have some sort of like animal or insect or something that's like our secret spirit animal that goes with the music for each era. This one's a nautilus. And to me, that spiral shape has always been like some kind of a symbol of like eternity, like it keeps going until you can't see it anymore. And It makes me think about the future and the past and the soul and like the depths of things. So it just fits. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that anybody really knows that explanation, but it feels that way to me. So maybe it'll feel like that to somebody else on a subconscious level.
Cool.
Amy Lee, I was actually having a discussion over the weekend and your name was brought up as well as Taylor Momsen, Lizzie Hale and Dorothy. And it was because we were watching the pregame for the NCAA Final Four, and they had a giant Miley Cyrus concert. Now, so I don't want to knock Miley Cyrus at all, but she was, for the masses, the female representation of rock music. And I was, and I listened to her album, and I like it.
He likes her a lot.
And I do. And so that's why I'm saying I'm not knocking Miley, but I was like, I was a little bit perplexed on why they're having her represent rock and roll when she is not classically known as a rock artist. And I thought, man, Amy Lee would have been perfect for this. Lizzie Hale would have been perfect. Taylor Momsen, Dorothy. Yeah. There had so many, other, I thought, better representations of rock music. And I wasn't sure what your thoughts were on her being a rock act now. And I'm not asking you to knock anything either.
Yeah, and again, without knocking her with you, I'm with you on that.
Before we get into the Bizarre File real quick, I will reiterate the announcement we made earlier this morning. We have a date for Cardboard Classic this year.
This is unbelievable.
Going back for our second time at Montage Mountain because it was a perfect place to do it. Friday, March 1st. The sled registration will begin in late December, so you can just kind of get ideas and things ready to go now. But one of the important bits that we wanted to make sure that you're aware of is the fact that Montage will be doing Mountain Fest.
Yes.
Last year, Everclear performed. And so on Friday, March 1st, Collective Soul in concert outside right there at the base of the mountain.
So people loved the concert last year. I mean, the whole weekend, people were raving about it. But, I mean, come on. To go right from the Cardboard Classic into this concert, it's going to be phenomenal.
And Pierre is buddies with Ed and the gang and the band. So I am excited about the opportunities. We'll have to get a hold of Ed Roland and see if they'll put together a sled. Would that be awesome?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
If Collective Soul was a part of it that way, we'll see if that can happen.
They can be on Kate Flannery's sled.
You can go to WMMR.com and click events to get the complete information. The following day for Mountain Fest, OAR and the 502s will be playing, so it continues on, and we would love for you to be there. So get the info, make the plans, put it in your calendar, and join us on Friday, March 1st for the Cardboard Classic at Montage Mountain.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by the Mainline Christmas lights. You can light up your holidays with Mainline Christmas lights. They will custom design, install, maintain, and even store your lights for next season. Take the hassle out of the holidays. Book now at mainlinechristmaslights.com. Well, this is a really wild story. A man who allegedly set off multiple bombs Sunday evening while being chased by San Francisco police might have thought that his actions were part of a video game, according to a city official who was briefed by police.
He might have thought it was a video game?
Supervisor Aaron Peskin said in 23 years of doing this stuff, it's probably the most bizarre. He said that the police informed him the suspect set off a pipe bomb in Nob Hill. His officers continued to pursue the man south, where he allegedly ignited a Molotov cocktail. Peskin said a police officer told him after the man's arrest that he, quote, wanted to know how many points he got on his Grand Theft Auto game.
Oh, my God.
The California Highway Patrol apprehended the suspect, who has yet been to be identified. No injuries have been reported in retaliation to the incident as of Monday morning. Police confirmed that they received a report of an assault at the church. Peskin said that he was told the suspect apparently tried to receive a communion. However, a resident who tried to offer the man communion told the supervisor the suspect declined the offering before walking away and assaulting a young male parishioner near the church's entrance. The victim refused medical treatment. The suspect then allegedly got into a vehicle and fled the scene, sparking a pursuit. Officers instigated the pursuit, and the suspect threw an unknown object out of the car window at pursuing officers. They reported hearing loud explosions on social media Sunday evening. People reported hearing that on social media, and officers had taped off one of the blocks. Bobby Diaz, a guest at a hotel nearby, said he heard a blast as he was on the phone. He said, I was looking out the window. I heard what sounded like a boom, and it sounded like someone crashed into the hotel. The suspect fled out of the city and onto the freeway, forcing the California Highway Patrol to take over the chase. The pursuit ended in Martinez, where the man was taken into custody.
That's insane.
Throwing bombs and Molotov cocktails. Yeah, that's crazy. A Southeast Alabama couple, listen to this, is behind bars after authorities said their 19-year-old son's decomposed body was found in a freezer. Michael Halstead and Karen Halstead are charged with abuse of a corpse. The sheriff, Eric Blankenship, said the office received a 911 call about a dead body at the location. When deputies arrived on scene, they found a decomposed body inside a freezer in the backyard of the home. The sheriff said that the remains are believed to be those of Logan Michael Halstead. He may have died as early as July or August. He said the family had moved away from the home, which they rented more than a month ago. The owner had recently sold the property, and the new owners were cleaning up when they made the discovery. They came upon the freezer in the backyard, and it was too heavy to load up onto the trailer to move, so they were going to clean it out before hauling it away.
That's unbelievable.
When they opened it up, they began moving things around. They saw a hand and called 911. The victim's parents were taken into custody later Sunday. Once charges were filed, they were booked into the county jail without bond. The victim's body was taken in for an autopsy. That's just insane.
We're looking at the mugshots. What an attractive couple the Halsteads are.
All right, so I'll need some lighter stuff after those two stories. Let's go with this one. 2 drivers suffered minor injuries after 4 vehicles were involved in a collision with a moose on Sunday night.
A moose?
Along Highway 416 in North Greenville, Ontario.
What kind
Why
of moose?
don't you forget the moose for a moment?
Police said the crash happened a little before 10 p.m., but 4 cars hit the moose, apparently.
A moose?
Paramedics,
Why don't you forget the moose for a moment?
Paramedics treated 2 drivers with minor injuries. Police have not released the condition of the moose at this point.
Why don't you forget the moose for a moment?
I'm trying.
Just worried about the moose.
In Ireland, police are appealing for information and witnesses after a burglary during which 2 artificial insemination tanks containing cattle semen were stolen from the Balliness Road area of Cloger.
Something's wrong with his milk.
The Inspector McNeil, said it was reported to police that the 2 tanks, which contained a large quantity,
Yeah, this is very inferior cow semen.
Of cattle semen were stolen after entry was gained into an outbuilding in the area.
Obviously, the intruder entered through this window and then left with the semen out the front door.
The inspector said the stolen tanks and contents were of significant value. And
we will not rest until we get our hands on that semen.
And at this time, our inquiries are ongoing as we work to establish the circumstances surrounding this theft. He said, I would encourage anyone who may have had this type of equipment or who works in this industry to be vigilant against this type of crime, particularly over the darker winter nights. Please review the security you have around your property and ensure any cameras are placed at entry points where access might be gained.
I say to the thief right now, we will not be letting that semen slip through our fingers.
All right, and then we'll do one more story, and let's end with one that's not so abrasive. How about, no, these are all pretty nasty.
It's okay, nasty's good. You're a bad boy.
No, this is a good one.
Oh.
The California otter, known for attacking surfers in Santa Cruz, has become a mother.
Yay!
After she was recently spotted with a pup on her belly.
That's funny.
So the maternal instincts kick in.
The mother, known as Sea Otter 841, was spotted far off of the coast on Wednesday as she rolled around in the waves with her new baby. Photographer Mark Woodward, one of her biggest fans, shared a special moment of A41 with her pup. The mama otter is infamous for attacking surfers, biting their boards, and evading wildlife officials.
I know I was a hellion, but once I had my own child, things changed.
Though the birth of her pup has yet to be confirmed by state and federal wildlife authorities, her vicious behavior in the past might be credited to her pregnancy.
Yeah, it must have been it. I was not my right self.
The gestational period for sea otters is known to last longer than that of other otters and can range between 4 to 12 months.
I was freaking out.
Otter 841 has given birth twice before this, but her first pup survived and the second one did not.
Meet A42.
June Lee, an Apple software engineer from San Jose, has developed a fear of otters, also known as lutrophobia, ever since 841 attacked his surfboard in July.
He's got a fear of otters?
Yeah, Lee said that while the news of the cruise of the otter's new baby is amazing, he still wants to make sure that she has calmed down before he revisits the water. Wildlife officials deemed 841 a public safety hazard for her reported attacks.
By the way, otters have some pretty profound teeth.
Oh, yeah.
They can chomp the crap out of you.
The previous plan was to safely capture, relocate her, and to a wildlife facility, but 841 managed to escape each time, and now they plan to leave her be as she spends time with her pup.
Be a more personal name than A41.
And that is what I have.
How about Annabelle?
In the bizarre file for you. Annabelle.
Yeah.
I like it.
Annabelle.
There you go. Come here, Annabelle. All right, and that's it in the B file. A reminder, we have a secret text word, so I need a number caller, Case. I'm going to let you pick the number caller today.
Oh, that's right. Kathy just left. I'm going to go with 11.
All right, caller 11 at 215-263 WMMR. We got those Mark Maron tickets. Let's see if you're the 11th caller and know the secret text word. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
With the people in place that are putting those kind of productions together, they need to hire you guys. They need if there's a place where rock music is going to be represented. There's so much rock music with millions of fans. Like, rock is no way dead. Like, it is full alive. But we need people in the positions of power and placement to recognize and tap into that rock world instead of always trying to make it, well, what'll just get the most people, that have heard this name before or whatever to care about it. That just feels a little bit like a
manufactured,
a business move, a corporate move.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
how to
it.
get the numbers.
But,
That's always frustrating. It's cool to be the underdog, but at the same time, it's like, well, rock is real. There are people out there that like it. Give it a chance for sure.
Yeah, but my wife did bring up the point that she is, she's a different name out there, and so maybe she is going to be that entree, right? Maybe somebody's going to watch her, listen to her, and go, well, hang on a second, I like this style of music, and maybe somebody
take a deeper dive.
Maybe somebody who wouldn't have known about Evanescence is now all of a sudden introduced as a result of that. I was like, okay, well, that's a healthy perspective, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
And Casey brought up all the great female rockers that are out there now, and I always kind of think of you as you, for me and for us, I think here represented the turn where we were like, we had obviously legendary voices in rock, but you represented this next wave that I think is still going on. You were the flashpoint, I think, and it seems like your contemporaries, and I've read interviews with all of them where they cite you as that step-off point. That has to come with a bit of pride.
That's really cool. It's so much cooler doing all of this now, later on in life, with the experience and the respect that comes along with, just doing it for a long time and surviving so much.
Yeah.
It's I would way rather be where I am now than what it felt like when we were starting out.
Yes. Yeah.
It's badass. It's incredible. There are so many people that came before me, that have influenced me. So many rad women. It's not like I'm like this one pillar of rock. There have been women in rock from the beginning.
Yeah, but you had a style which I kind of see as almost like dominatrix-esque. And let me explain. Because they incorporate pleasure and pain.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so the instrumentation is the pain and your voice is the pleasure. You have this smoothness about you, and then there's that raw edge of the music that go together. So, I mean,
Contrast.
Yeah,
All about contrast.
So-
On a visual, audio, whatever level, I like to hear two really different things coming together to make that beautiful swirl.
And as I want to be the first one who has ever called you a dominatrix. Has anybody ever done that?
Oh, you're not the first.
We're on Zoom with Amy, so we can see her in the room that she's in. Are those Care Bears and Smurf dolls behind you?
Yeah. What's your pleasure? 80s toys.
Do you have any My Little Ponies? Because Kathy was never allowed to have a My Little Pony when she was a kid.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh, wait, we're going to take a look. She's taking the camera over. I'll describe to the audience.
My Little
Ponies. Several My Little
Ponies. I try to keep it in perspective so, like, the Grammys and the awards have, like, dolls all around.
It's like in front of a gold record and a Grammy, there's a My Little Pony. Several.
Wait, and I love the Care
I got
Bears.
My Little Pony climbing the Grammy right now.
Oh my
The
God.
Raggedy Ann up there.
Amy, I used to go to my neighbor's house and play with the neighbor because she had My Little Ponies. And for whatever reason, and it wasn't that I wasn't allowed to have them, but my mom never got them for me. And I was traumatized as a kid. I
Your
really
mom probably
wanted
thought they
them.
were sinful or something.
It's really funny. I honestly, like, I didn't have that many toys as a kid, but there was, I don't know why, like, there's so many cool 80s collectible. I mean, it's not like it's only the 80s. It happened later too with Pokemon and Beanie Babies and everything else. But like, when I got to be a teenager and all that stuff was like at flea markets and cheap, I was like, I'm buying every toy that I ever wanted now.
Yeah, now that you can afford it, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Amy, with the new record and new music, what are your thoughts on touring and what it's going to be like over the next few months? Because so much of that is up in the air for so many different acts.
Yeah, we're not going to be out there this summer, but we are making plans for the end of the year. And I just can't wait. It's been just this thing where we keep making plans, and this is like with tour and everything else over the last year and a half almost now. You just keep making plans and keep having to push them back, and then you just keep making them again and keep making them again and keep, waiting for that time when you don't have to postpone it again. So we just keep making plans.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, we're in a different situation than when we were in last year when we just kept pushing it back, hoping for something. Now there's a vaccine. Now things are changing. I've already gotten my first shot. We're headed towards the end of not being able to do it anymore. So we are going to unleash the fury. I am so ready to get out there and just play and feel what it feels like to be on stage, just immersed fully in music with a group of hot and sweaty people. Don't you want that so bad?
Yeah,
right now?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So good.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, when was the last time you played our MMRBQ? How many years? Obviously, it wasn't last year. Was that 2 years ago?
I don't think it was that
2019.
long ago.
Yeah, because I had a great memory of being in the commissary, if you will, and I believe they might have been serving kielbasa sausage, and I started singing Tenacious D,
Tenacious
and
D.
you were there, and you actually sang with me a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your butt
that.
cheeks is warm.
Yes.
That was our road trip music. That we were just on that road trip. It was all Tenacious D, like
That's awesome.
all of it.
Oh,
I'm an old school fan from like the cable days.
Yeah,
like
the HBO show.
They played the MMRBQ one year, and they were it was a festival. Yeah, it was a festival. Another festival that we did, and nobody really knew them except the musicians, and it was wild to see that. The audience was like, "What in the F?"
It was before Jack Black was a household name, man.
Every band was lined up stage side, and they were like freaking out. It was just hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because it's one of those things, right? Like Spinal Tap, where bands get it on a level where especially with the Tenacious D, their musicianship is so good.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes it so funny. Like all the details of like talking about writing a song and everything, you just relate to it. That's right. And it actually sounds great.
It does. They're really great. And Pick of Destiny is just you can watch that over and over again. I wanted to ask you when you're performing, when you said getting back to the concert dynamic. What's the better scenario? You're able to roll out the music, and a lot of your listeners have heard it there live, perform live with that energy, or they come already pre-schooled on the music because they've been listening to it over and over again off of the album?
You know, it's cool when they know it a little bit. That one of the cool things about this situation is we're going to be going out there playing the new album.
Right.
And by the time we're able to be up on stage playing it, the fans have been living it with it for a year. I mean, we started releasing the songs, already a year ago now. So it won't be that, ooh, what's this one? I haven't heard it before. I mean, it'll be cool to hear it live, but they'll know the words. And I think that's going to be really powerful.
Yeah. I remember when I would be going to a concert, I would take a little bit of time to do the work, to get the album and listen to it, and then go. It's a completely different experience. And were you the same way when you were pre-rock star? Yeah.
Yeah, even now, like if we're gonna go to a show and it's a band that like a friend wants to go to that I don't really know that well, or I know like the hits, but I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
Like you always jam that album that day when you're like getting ready to go, just so you're kind of familiar with what's going to happen. It makes it more exciting when the songs you like do happen.
It serves you better as you're paying for this ticket. Yeah. You're going to get more out of it if you listen to the material. I remember Rush had done a tour, and it was a concept album that they had, and they said they were going to mainly just be playing music from that. So I did my work. I listened to it. I loved it. Our boss did not listen to it. He thought it was a lousy concert. I thought it was an awesome concert. So that can be the difference. You got to listen to the material.
I totally agree.
Hey, I wanted to ask because Taylor Momsen's name came up, Lizzie Hale's name came up. There are a couple of the featured backup singers on this album. There are several people that you brought on board, and all of this done remotely. How was that? I mean, just a quick phone call and they're in type of thing?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely remote. That was when we were recording Use My Voice, it was right before the shutdown. It was the beginning of last year. So we recorded in Nashville. That's where Nick's studio is, and Lizzie, and they live here. So it was easy for her to come by, like check out the song, get in the booth. And Dina Jacob from Viridia, my friend who helped me actually write a little bit of the song, she could come in. She lives here. So we did that. But also I just like texted and called a couple friends and was like, I don't know, do you want to lay a vocal down on this? And everybody said yes. And
awesome.
Really cool.
You guys all have your own style and all shine in your own ways. But when you're watching Lizzie, do you kind of sit there and go, a little less? Don't destroy me on this. I'm sure her voice is
I hear
so
Lizzie,
powerful.
and I'm like, turn that girl up.
That's so cool that you guys all live out there. That's just one of those cities that I need to get to.
Are you in Nashville?
Yeah, I am now. Wow. I was in Brooklyn for 13 years. It's weird. It's different, but it's good. We're closer to my parents here.
Hey, I wanted to listen. I don't know if you have the details, and if you do, if you're allowed to give them out or not. But you are going to be announcing a streaming concert next month. Can you talk about that right now or no?
I don't know. I haven't talked about it yet because I didn't think I was supposed to, but you just spilled beans.
Feel free to get in trouble because of us. Yeah.
Nobody's listening.
We are. We're working on it. We're just now talking about the set list. So we are doing something. Yes.
Okay. I've watched a lot of streaming concerts over the last year, and it is, there's some real...
Going up to about 50 degrees today. Need a little bit of a breeze, making it feel a tiny bit cooler. 53 tomorrow. Sunday, not seeing any rain or anything like that. Getting better as the week rolls on. 60 on Friday, 63 on Saturday, 65 on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it. All right, so we are looking for a secret text word winner. We were looking for the 11th caller, so to the phones we go. That 11th caller happens to be Mike. So we will go to Mike first and foremost. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning to see you, Mike. Do me a favor and let me know what the secret text word is, please.
Feline.
Feline is correct. Yes, sir. Hang on. You're going to go see Mark Maron, buddy. We got tickets for you. His show is going to be Friday, May 3rd at the Keswick Theater in Glenside, and tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. And our random texter is Scott Hod. Scott! Of Limerick, Pennsylvania. So, Scott, it's either Scott Hod or Howd, H-O-U-D-E. And you'll get tickets to go see the very funny, very cool Mark Maron. All In is the name of his show. Friday, May 3rd, Keswick Theater. And like I said, tickets are on sale Friday at 10 a.m. via AXS.com. All right, so we are going to give away another prize with a lesson question for today, a $50 Metro Diner dining card. And let's see. What latest research center was recently added to the Just Saying Institute? Wow.
That's a tough one.
That's going to be a hard one. I'm sorry I didn't read this ahead of time. It was the first one there, and I set it up taking a look at it.
If you get it, though, you deserve it.
Yeah, we'll take it out for a spin. What's the latest research center that was recently added to the Just Saying Institute? This morning, it was just added. And if you were listening when we were doing the JSI, then maybe you caught it at the end there. We'll see if you know the answer. Or was it at the beginning? I don't remember. All right, we'll do the trash while you're calling in.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
Brought to you by Liberty Safes of New Jersey, having one big fat safe sale now through November 8th. And it's Route 130 in Bordentown or Route 73 in Mount Laurel. Online at libertysafesnj.com. What's going on this morning, Steve?
Well, this is interesting. Lizzo's tour staffers are backing her in a lawsuit filed by former dancers who claim the singer forced them to attend sex shows. Lizzo's crew says the Rubenesque dancers didn't have time for sex shows, and they have the receipts to prove it, Burger King receipts.
Hey!
Ethan Slater did not discuss his girlfriend Ariana Grande while stepping out of court during divorce proceedings with his estranged wife. As for Grande, she told paparazzi she was meant to be with Evan. She meant Ethan. She said Ethan, right?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Andrew Cuomo is blaming cancel culture for his 2021 political downfall. Cuomo believes things overcorrected when normally most women wouldn't mind having his thumb up their butts.
Wow.
Trash.
All right, let's see if someone knows the answer to this question. What's the latest research center that was recently added to the Just Saying Institute? We'll go to Gene. Hi, Gene. Good morning.
Eugene.
You are. Eugene. All right, what's the answer, man?
I'm going to guess it's the Camel Toe Panty Research Center.
No.
That's a good
guess.
Yeah.
But that's not what we were looking for. And unfortunately, Gene was the only person that called in. I think it was too hard of a question.
What was the other
You
one?
said it very quickly. Do you want me to ask the other one?
Yeah.
You sure?
Well, I don't know. There's nobody else that called in, so I have nobody to go to.
Can we keep it?
We can.
Yeah.
All right, no, do the other one then.
All right, so here's the other one. Answer either one of the questions right and you'll win. When he was younger, what was Hitler's nickname?
Ah.
All right, 215-263 WMMR. Switch those up, Case. We'll do music news while we wait for somebody to call in. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
Music news on 93.3 WMMR.
That one was my fault. All right, so let's start with this one. One of Motley Crue's co-founders, Mr. Mick Mars, has released a solo single titled Loyal to the Lie.
Loyal to the Lie.
Yeah, about that, he laughed and said, I wanted to do something that was just big and mean. I am what I am. Nobody else can do it.
He's laughing.
He said, and like everyone, I've got a limited number of years, so I'm going to do all I can to do a lot of stuff.
He's always had, for his entire life, he's dealt with health problems, correct?
Yeah. After touring for more than 40 years, Mars stepped back from the road, but is still a member of the crew. His debut solo album, The Other Side of Mars, will be out on February 23rd.
Would it be too obvious to actually let him be part of the Mars crew?
It would certainly
Headlines?
it would be a nice little package.
Mars goes to Mars.
Mars goes to Mars. I love it. Yeah. All right. Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, will return to Europe next year with a 22-show stadium run. It'll kick off May 5th in Wales, in Cardiff. His European tour this year was so successful, it sold over 1.6 million tickets. The world tour will stop in Northern Ireland, Ireland, and England, as well as France, Czech Republic, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany, to name a few. And then the show at Wembley Stadium is set for July 25th. Tickets will go on sale Friday, November 2nd.
What's the average running time of his concerts these days?
Like 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah. That's a beefy concert.
All right, want me to jump in and get a winner right now?
Do it.
Okay.
All right, well then hang on.
I know, you're going to have to pause
Case.
that. And you know what? No.
No,
They can hold on.
don't do it.
They'll hold on.
Wait.
Come on.
After dropping hints for weeks, Creed confirmed they're going to tour next summer. 40-city trek. It will kick off in Green Bay, Wisconsin, make stops across North America. as they reunite for the first show in 12 years. Lead singer Scott Stapp says the idea didn't come from the band. He explained that was something I think managers were talking about for a long time before the artists were approached. And so then we were approached and everyone signed on. We thought it would be a good way to kick things off and see what happens. So closest they're going to come to here will be in Hershey, Pennsylvania on August 23rd. By the way, tickets will go on sale Friday.
I saw a video on the gram maybe last week, and Scott looks good.
He does look good.
He looks healthy.
They're all over the World Series because the Rangers, Texas Rangers, have adopted Creed as sort of like their band, sort of like Callum Scott was for the Phils, and so they're going to a bunch of games. It's good press for them.
Yep.
I'm glad it's working out for them because he went through some tough stuff. We had him in the studio. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And he's a good dude.
Yep. Jimmy Buffett may be gone, but we may not have seen the last of his Coral Reefer band.
I thought so.
Equal Strain on All Parts, the last album that Buffett recorded before his death on September 1st at the age of 76, was produced by longtime Coral Reefer member Michael Utley and Mac McNally. And now Utley says that there are plans for the band to continue in tribute to its absent leader. He said it's going to be discussed probably after the first of the year.
Do you know it's an obvious replacement if you want to put a frontman on that band? Buckethead.
Buckethead.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what rumor I heard that was fun? John Mayer.
John Mayer would be perfect.
Yeah, because he does it with the dead. He's so versatile. He could be like Jimmy Buffett.
He absolutely could be. And that audience would accept him no problem.
He said, I'm not sure, but there's definitely talk about something to keep it going. In separate interview, he added that Buffett wanted the family to keep rolling. We haven't figured out exactly how to do it, but we love being together too much not to. The privilege of riding shotgun with the thing that was Jimmy Buffett was a joy, even every single day, and I will carry that with me forever. So whatever form we get to keep going in, we'll do it.
I think Mayer actually would be better than Buckethead.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
I think Don McCloskey would be way better than both of them.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned his name, Casey, because I am announcing a concert.
Are you kidding?
Well, here's a shocker. It's Don McCloskey. We are actually presenting this show. The Preston and Steve Show are presenting Don McCloskey and the band's Holiday Office Party. Also featuring Will Leet of Sammy Ray and the Friends. Saturday, December 2nd at Brooklyn Bowl in Philadelphia.
What a fun band, man.
Oh, yeah.
There, you had stepped away, Preston, but during the barbecue, he jumped off stage, ran up that hill, and all. I mean, it was just very interactive.
I saw the video of it. Yeah, he's a great performer. The band is fantastic. He's got great musicians.
I think when he got to the top of the hill, he was like, I was a little steeper than I thought it was going to be.
Well, he did it to the man, too, Case. When he jumped off the stage when they opened for the Sunny podcast, and he was running around the audience of the man and hopped back up on stage. It's so much fun. It's such a great show.
For tickets and information, click events at WMMR.com, or you can visit BrooklynBowl.com. I didn't even say where they were playing.
Oh.
I just said that Presidency present Don McCloskey and the band's Holiday Office Party. It'll be Saturday, December 2nd at Brooklyn Bowl. Maybe I did say that.
You did.
You did.
BrooklynBowl.com/Philadelphia to get the tickets. All right. So happy to hear that Don's playing that gig. All right. We can now, I think, try to get a winner. And somebody's gonna answer that first question.
Yeah.
What's the latest research center that was recently added to the Just Sayin Institute? So we will go to Aaron, see if we can get that right. Hey, Aaron, good morning.
Gadzooks.
Gadzooks.
Hey, Ron.
Aaron,
hey, Ron.
What's the name?
Is it bands with Lyle in their name?
Yes, bands that contain the name Lyle. Hang on, man. Nice work. We are going to give you a $50 Metro Diner dining card. You can visit metrodiner.com to get all the information. So congratulations, sir. We have one final break. We will come back in a moment. Our letter of the day for the word of the week. Pierre Robert in here. Stay put. We'll be right back.
I'm a huge Fish fan, and Trey Anastasio did a run of shows at the Beacon, and what they did, which I thought was really, really cool, is they performed towards the back of the stage, right? And so and then they lit up all the seats behind them. I mean, just are you talking just visuals alone? Because obviously the music's going to speak for itself, but the visuals alone, I thought that was a really cool visual.
That is really cool. That's a good idea.
Hey,
we still have to figure out what we're going to do exactly.
When you're putting the set list together, what's What's most important, opener or closer to you? What do you think?
That is a difficult question.
Yeah.
The opener is really important. I'm tempted to say the closer, but honestly, like the way you start the show really sets up the whole energy of the night. If you come in strong, like that is going to just get everybody to buy into everything else you're about to do. So I think starting is really important, but ending's important too, because whatever you end with, that's what's going to be in everybody's head for the rest of the night.
I saw a Cheap Trick one time, and they opened with "I Want You to Want Me," and we were like, "Whoa!" And I still remember that to this day. I mean, that blew me away.
There's a lot that can go into. There's a lot behind those moves. I think that's a statement. It's like, if you guys came to just hear this one song, you can leave now.
We're not
the rest of the show is for the fans. You guys want to go to the bathroom, just go. Get to the back. This is for the fans now. That's what that says to me.
we had a show one time, and we won't mention the band, but the band opened and closed with their hit at the time. It was like it was a weird thing.
Well, it was the New Radicals, and they really didn't have much material.
Pretty much what they had.
And that's a great song. You get what you get.
Absolutely, yeah.
But hey, I wanted to, and I don't know if we've talked to you since you guys released your cover of The Chain, but what an amazing rendition of that song. And I just wanted to thank you for doing that, choosing to do that, and releasing it. Yeah,
and ballsy too. Yeah, you know. I mean, that's a bold shot at a song that's got its own identity for sure. It was awesome.
Totally, man. It felt really good to do. Our band is made up of people. We all have a little bit of a different taste in music, and we all like different things. And, you know, some of that contrast between us is what makes it great. But one place that we all super agree is Fleetwood Mac. So to be able to go in and for us all to just be like, yes, like equally excited to have the opportunity to do it was really cool. And my thought on covers is always find a new way, like make it somehow like really your own, because if it's really just going to be another version of the original, like that's just, I don't know, I want to go hear the original then, like that to me is like that
you're just reminding people of a version they like better, which is it's the problem.
Like bring a new perspective to the table and see if you can show, you know, another potential interpretation of the music. So that song definitely, you know, it's different. It's very different from the original. I really like it.
You mentioned each band member having their own taste, and then confirm or deny, is your number one pie choice these days pecan pie, and how did that happen?
You guys research deep. Far on Instagram.
Can you confirm or deny?
Confirm. I love pecan pie. I mean, I like food in general. I'm a food person, but I think that was like last Thanksgiving or something. I was like, okay, I'm making a mark in time. Like, this is my favorite. I'm tired of playing around. This isn't a joke anymore.
So you pronounced it pecan pie, which is how I say it as well. Steve says pecan. Yeah. So then where are you from? Where did you grow up that you got that pronunciation?
I actually grew up all over. My dad's was in radio for 30 years, so we're kind of a no dialect family. South Florida is where I grew up as a small child, but then Illinois and then Arkansas. But I mean, I've lived everywhere, kind of.
All right, what did he do in radio?
Pecan. We say pecan.
Pecan. What did he do in radio?
He did what you do. He was a DJ, a program director, morning show.
Oh.
We traveled. That's why we moved around a lot, you know, just different jobs.
Wow, cool. Excellent. Well, listen, we're excited about the prospect of maybe, you know, a streaming show coming up, and obviously you doing the live stuff, which is going to be fantastic, and the new album is great. So, Amy Lee, congratulations to you, the rest of the guys in the band.
Thank you.
And just keep doing what you're doing, and we love it, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you in person again.
Yes.
Excellent. The Bitter Truth, Amy Lee, Evanescence. Thank you very much. And thanks for coming on this morning. So, wow. She's so cool.
She's awesome.
I love it. I love this. I was looking on our next guest Twitter account, and he's got a tweet from Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
It says, excited to see the Snyder Cut, but ahead of its debut, and with the aid of a good amount of aviation gin, tonight at 6 p.m., I'll do something I've never done. Actually watch The Green Lantern. Happy St. Patrick's Day. That was sent to Zack Snyder. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very fortunate to have this gentleman on. He was gracious enough to give us this wonderful interview at the Camp Out for Hunger. It was fantastic.
So cool.
And we're stoked on the day that this big event that we've long awaited, that he is joining us this morning. It's very, very cool.
I mean, the stuff that so many people thought would never happen, and here it is.
Please welcome Zack Snyder to the show this morning. Zack.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Doing really great this morning.
It is an exciting day for a lot of people, including most of all you. And the first question I want to get into, Zack, is just to remind everybody, how did this come to be? Where did this idea start that this movie needed to go back and be redone and added all this extra footage? I think it was fan-based, was it not?
100% fan-based. I don't know. It's a long saga of what happened during the film. People might not know that the original Justice League that was released in theaters, that I've never seen the movie. I left the project due to a family tragedy that we had, and so I never completed the film. They brought in another guy to finish it, and they made a couple of changes in my absence, and so I guess there was a hashtag that circulated called "Release the Snyder Cut." And that hashtag started on November 17th, 2017, which is the day the movie was originally released.
Wow.
There was a guy who walked out of the theater and just went like, nope, and tweeted that. And since, it's been tweeted millions of times, the studio finally was like, okay, well, I guess we have to do this.
It's miraculous. Yeah. It is a miraculous thing when you stop and think about it. So the actual release itself, Zack, the actual movie, that it's in existence the way you originally envisioned it, but now the story of it has become Hollywood legend as well, how this actually was executed. So something that I'm sure would have to frustrate any artist and any guy, and I consider you a visionary. Preston and I, we all love your work. I mean, we're massive fans. And to think, okay, I guess I have to cast that one into the dustbin of, that, and then to be able to go back, and then you're getting things like IGN saying Zack Snyder's Justice League is a vindication for the director and the fans that believed in his vision. That's got to be awesome on this day to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just the fans have been so amazing. Our big cause is suicide prevention and mental health awareness. And, the fans have raised now $600,000 just, in the little fan community. Because every time they did an activation, like if they bought a billboard, half the money would go to AFSP and the other half the money would be like a billboard or like.
On 93.3 WMMR, what you want. 10:34 on this Wednesday morning, coming to a close, our portion of the day. But you're in good hands. We got plenty of people who are going to take care of you no matter when you were checking in and out with MMR. Hopefully you're sticking with us for the rest of your day today. We've had an enjoyable one so far. I would like to thank a couple of guests from the Franklin Institute, Mr. Derrick Pitts, Chief Astronomer. And they've got a new exhibit that is going to be sticking around for quite a while. It is called The Wondrous Space, and it opens on Saturday. And he was going on about how amazing this is, and specifically because they have all kinds of exhibits that pop up, but this one is right in Derrick's wheelhouse.
Well, it's using a lot of state-of-the-art tech, augmented reality, and all sorts of things to really convey the vastness of space, plus presenting all the potential options for jobs within the ever-burgeoning space industry.
So check out the Franklin Institute starting on Saturday. And also thank you to Mr. Chris Tucker.
Hey.
He's playing New York City November 18th. His 17th show is sold out at the Beacon Theater, and you can get tickets now. So make sure you do that. He was really nice. It was good to talk to him. So we enjoyed those guests today. Pierre Robert has just arrived. How do?
Good day, then.
Excellent. Nice to see you, sir.
Nice to see you, kids.
Shall we just dive right into it and get a letter of the day?
Zap.
All right.
Zap.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
The Preston and Steve Show is brought to you today by The Letter.
O as in Ohio.
All right. 2 more letters to go. Then we have this Word of the Week prize to give away, a 4-pack of tickets to the sold-out Tool concert Thursday, November 16th, the Wells Fargo Center, and that show is being presented by WMMR. So we'll give them away on Friday, which is cool. You got some good stuff planned today?
Indeed, I do. I do indeed.
Excellent.
We'll have workforce blocks of Red Hot Chili Peppers for Anthony's birthday, block of Van Halen, block of Def Leppard for Rick Allen's birthday as well.
I love it.
Thank you.
Rock and roll, man.
We will rock, but not only will we rock, we will effing roll.
We're going to roll, man.
Don't forget the mother effing roll.
Never. Never. I agree with you.
Thank you. Peace and love.
All right. I want to thank our sponsors. Preston and Steve Show brought to you today by Duncan. The Preston and Steve Show runs on Duncan, and also brought to you by Mainline Christmas Lights. They're going to custom design your Christmas lights this year. Book now at mainlinechristmaslights.com. Tomorrow, guess we got a band. They're called Pretty Wide Open.
Oh, nice. They're awesome.
PWO.
Yeah, PWO. No, we are Pretty Wide Open tomorrow. But
there's a band?
No.
No.
They're going to play acoustic?
Yeah, it's an unplugged show.
Their first song is Pretty Wide.
Yep.
Their next song is Open.
Yeah, you know these guys.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that
They're
tomorrow.
like Milli Vanilli.
All right, that's it. We're
but less talented.
We are done. Ray John, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, gang. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.